the most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real-world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 10th and final round of the first season of the Karts to Computers iRacing series. We come to you live tonight from the virtual Michigan International Speedway, a 2-mile oval that's played host to, well, really several oval series over the years, whether it be, well, NASCAR, IndyCar, those are the two main ones I can think of, but really all the major oval series have had some incredible races here. It's a difficult 2-mile track with some well, really lack of banking compared to most ovals you'd see this season, compared to maybe, well, maybe not Indianapolis. Indianapolis doesn't have a ton of banking, but we were at the Daytona Road Course a few weeks ago, and with some crazy bankings there, it kind of gives you perspective here tonight on just how difficult a bankingless track really can be. Well, overall, I mean, that's kind of the setup for tonight's race. It should be a great way to cap off the season. This race was, of course, decided by our All-Star race winner, Mr. Michael Krobach. Hopefully all of you guys were able to watch the broadcast for that race. It was live streamed out on my personal channel, but it was a lot of fun, so hopefully everybody can go back and watch that if they haven't, to see the kind of the build-up and the reason for this race being where and with what cars it is. So, well, really, as we wrap up Season 1 of our Karts to Computers iRacing Series season, I kind of just want to start the way I'll probably end it, and I normally end most broadcasts, but really I just want to thank everybody out there that comes around each week and watches these broadcasts and spends it, whether it's their Thursday, Saturday, or this time Friday night, sitting down with us and just watching our racing series to we'll really give these guys some semblance of the racing atmosphere that they used to run in back when they were able to kart full time. And well, nowadays it's actually starting to get back to the point where some guys are once in a while heading back out to the track again. I know I've seen Logan Paxa and Justin Lewick both were able to get it on the real world track in the last few weeks, even if it's not the full racing discipline we'd like it to be. But just to think that guys can get back out there and do the thing that really inspired this series to happen at all. It's really nice to see, and I'm really glad that it's kind of come full circle in that way. But well, again, I shouldn't discount the fact that we will still be doing a Season 2 of the Karts to Computers iRacing Series season. It'll be in a few weeks. I have yet to officially announce when it'll start. It was supposed to, in theory, start on June 12th, but based on, well, how our registration's going, we have some guys that are still up in the air. I know some people are having technical issues even getting on iRacing in order to properly run the entire season. So we'll get all that figured out. Right now, the temporary starting date for Season 2 would be June 12th, but, well, really that's yet to be officially announced. So overall, thank you everybody again for showing up to our final race of the season. I just have a few things to go over tonight before we get to the start of our race. Now, as usual, the last few races, at the beginning of the season I was forgetting to do it every single race, and it was kind of eating away at me, but now I have remembered to get our point standings ready before the race. And well, as you'll see when we look at the point standings, it's, well, really, it's become kind of official who your champion is because, well, as we mentioned in our last broadcast, unless Logan Paxa didn't show up at all, he would officially be your Season 1 Karts to Computers iRacing Series champion, and he indeed is. So congratulations to Logan Paxa. We'll do a little interview segment at the end of the race with him, and we got some stuff to go over there. But as you can see in the points, currently 262 points in your first 9 races. Again, we had a drop race in those 9 races, so as you see there, only 8 races counted for the top 6 in the championship. Logan with a very, very impressive first 9 races of the season, went 6 for 9. The only driver to win multiple races, and he won 6 of them, so to go along with 6 poles, what a season for Logan. A very fitting champion, absolutely. Didn't finish out of the top 5 even once. So if I don't call that consistency and domination, I don't know what would. But after that, Michael Krobach, who was in your championship battle even till last week, and hypothetically tonight if Logan hadn't showed up, because 68 is the max number of points you can get in our point system in a race, and he's 67 points back. So, well, if Logan hadn't showed up, we would have had quite the storyline for tonight's race. But no, instead, Michael will unfortunately have to settle for second on his behalf tonight. But really, even depending on how he finishes tonight, if he were to crash out early, he would hypothetically finish third in the championship, because tonight, I should remind everybody, is a double points race, which I think should add some a fair level of excitement to tonight's proceedings. I'm looking forward to the fact that points will be doubled, and this point sheet by the end of the race will absolutely be in shambles. So I don't know if I'll have a chance to get the updated one up by the end of the race, but if indeed I manage to, then well, we can get a better idea of just how much things shift around based on finishing positions tonight. But overall, after that, Devin Crosby and Justin Lewick tied in third position, as well as a tie for fifth. But that tie for third position between Crosby and Lewick, it'll be a very interesting race tonight to decide who's the winner in that. Because without the double, or even with the double points, when they're both tied, I mean, it's just whoever finishes highest. So Devin and Justin will be battling it out for that final position in the podium for the championship. And there is a $10 prize fee that goes along with finishing in that third championship position. So definite stakes for those two gentlemen tonight. I know they are both running in tonight's race. So after that, Josh Gallagher and Marco Felice, that tie for fifth. I guess, well, kind of fourth, but it's technically fifth on the sheet. Unfortunately, Marco Felice has had, I believe, a technical issue in terms of his setup, so he will not be running tonight, meaning that Josh Gallagher, seeing as he is here, has officially claimed, I think it's, well, technically fifth spot once the two guys ahead of him shake out, unless he's able to have a crazy race and take home a third of his own, which is possible. It would just require quite the performance on the behalf of Josh Gallagher and for Devin and Justin to have probably pretty subpar races on their end. So, well, that is the point standings. I won't go too much further than that because a lot of the guys in there either are not running tonight's race or didn't manage to make the full season. But some of the guys that have run only a limited number of races will be running tonight. I don't think Caleb Campbell is here, but we do have Jean Guerra there in 13th, Manuel Guerra in 18th. We got Logan Ferguson here. I don't think Frankie Esposito is here either. We have a few disappearances from some guys in regards to tonight's race. But well, I will quickly go on to one more thing before we get tonight's race started. As this is the final 10th race of the season, normally, we do the race recap here before the start of each race, where we go over the last race broadcast that we ran this season, and we will still do that tonight. But however, I felt it kind of only fitting to before that maybe do a little bit of maybe just kind of a tribute video to the season as a whole, and we'll go through all of your finishing results for the season, and then we'll give you the finishing results and the full recap of last race, and then we will get ready to go green here at Michigan International Speedway for the final round of the Karts to Computers Iverson Series, Season 1. That we will wrap up our recap of this season's races, and we now head on to our last broadcast at Summit Point. So maybe we'll keep the broadcast music in a little bit, but well, looking back to last race, we start with the blimp cam, just thanks to the trees and the way the Summit Point racetrack was set up. But we come in our 9th round at the Skip Barber at Summit Point Jefferson Circuit. You see the very first corner of the race, that prime car of, I believe it was Jordan West, kind of tucked the car in a little bit there to make a pass for 5th position early. And I think he made a pass on Devin Crosby that same lap as well. Very busy first lap for everybody. But you see here, the first instant of our race, that very first lap coming through the sweeping 5th corner. Rich Foligno makes contact with, trying to tell who that is there. Several drivers involved in that. I think Logan Ferguson, Justin Lewick was involved in an incident that lap as well. Rich Foligno would pass for Jean Guerra, and I don't believe he would ever give that position up after that. So Rich Foligno would stay on the lead lap and finish with a very solid 6th position. Now on our first restart after our first competition yellow, Logan Paxa throws it in there with Rene Hart right behind, but that was Devin Crosby in the background you saw there sliding out into corner 1. An unfortunate restart for him. He would manage to tuck back in 6th, and I think he'd eventually take that position again, but now we saw Michael Krobach taking the 2nd position from Rene Hart. Michael, of course, still in his battle at this point to try to win the championship from Logan Paxa, but now we see Justin Lewick making the same pass on Rene Hart, I believe in the same straightaway, so Rene kind of moving backwards there at that moment, but the 2 guys ahead of him were just so quick all day. Can't blame him at all, and after some technical difficulties, we finished with our final competition yellow of the day. Michael Krobach and Justin Lewick, I believe thanks to pit position, came out ahead of Logan Paxa on that final restart, but with 9 to go, Paxa would head to the outside of Lewick and would gain his 2nd position back, and it became, well, kind of a dash to the finish for our top 2 championship contenders, as we see here. Michael's going to kind of slip up on his entry out of, or entry into corner 5 here. They almost went side by side, but Logan tucked back in behind him, got the stream. They went side by side into the final corner of the track, and well, Logan with one of the most masterful entries on the outside of that final corner I've seen really ever at Summit Point. So nailed his entry, committed, and executed perfectly on his move, and Michael couldn't quite clear him here. They go side by side through this final straightaway. Just such a good paddle, I couldn't cut any of it out. You see Logan Paxa finally gets the nose on him. He had the inside line into the first turn for laps 69, so only 6 to go at this point, and he'd be able to hold that position, but Michael slipped up again a little bit in that 5th corner. Now Justin Lewick was able to capitalize on it, got into slipstream just the same way. The slipstream on these skip arbors and straightaways like these can be brutal, so he'd head to the inside. It'd be a little bit simpler of a move than Paxa needed, but he would indeed make the pass. And then it doesn't really show up a bunch in this highlight package, but Justin Lewick's defense all race was just incredible. You see here defending from Krobach and just not giving any room up to him. Really, he couldn't with the track like Summit Point, but he'd be able to make that position stick. He'd come home with a 2nd position, and a great result for him. But you see Logan Paxa started to pull away in those final few laps. He'd come around the final corner. He'd win his 6th race of the season, went 66% in terms of wins in our entire first 9 races of the year. He'd come across with the victory, and well, you'll see here a moment from now, he just kind of dove into his pit box as a celebration there. There you go. So Logan's had some pretty creative finishes all season for his celebrations for victories, and that was another one of them. So you see there your final results: Paxa, Lewick, Krobach, Crosby, and Hart, your top 5, all on the lead lap. After that, Rich Foligno would finish 6th, the 2 Guerras in 7th and 8th, Caleb Campbell in 9th, and then a few various drivers with incidents like Jordan West and Logan Ferguson would round out your field. So overall, that was kind of a nice recap of the entire season, and then to round it off, we had our recap of the last race, which I think was one of our best of the season, definitely one of our most interesting there at Summit Point. So with only 2 minutes left in practice, I will throw up your timing tower results for practice. Oh, we have another new attendee for this season, Kip Stevens as well. One of your new drivers this season, actually, as well as Andrew Bedrosian. I believe I'm pronouncing that right. They are 2 newcomers for next season. They'll be attending the race. They'll be attending the series for the first time tonight, and after that, I believe they will become full-time contenders for next season as we head to season 2 of the Karts to Computers Iverson series. So I know attendance has kind of suffered the last few races a little bit. We've had a lot of people just maybe not have the time based on the status of the world and just really having things to do other than practice for racing. But the guys that were able to stick with us have had absolutely great years. Kip Stevens jumps up the timing tower quite a bit there. Must have run a late final lap. So, well, that will be your 12-man grid for tonight. I believe everybody who is running in tonight's race did run a qualifying lap. So it's good to see. Sometimes I think we have people with technical issues or internet faults that doesn't unfortunately allow them to run the full thing. But well, before we head off to your race start and give you your qualifying results for tonight's race, let me just show you a map of Michigan International Speedway. So, as I mentioned pre-race, it is a 2-mile oval, one that is run by both the NASCAR and the IndyCar series. I think it's probably one of the closer NASCAR tracks, or really one of the closer major ovals to home for us Canadians here that live in Ontario. I think in terms of NASCAR venues, I think Watkins Glen might be a little bit closer than Michigan, but it's really one of the world's best large racing venues, and I think it's kind of known for its iconic banking that makes it really more difficult than any oval of its size in all of North America. You think about Daytona or Talladega, they have the huge bankings that'll have a crazy speed. Michigan, you definitely got to be shifting, you got to be watching your braking points, and you got to have throttle control, all things that can be very difficult with certain cars. And well, when it comes to difficulty, the NASCAR Xfinity car, especially the legacy version we're running tonight that we also ran in our All-Star race earlier this season, it can be absolutely brutal to try to get the front end of the car to turn for you, because the understeer is just, it's rough with these tires. So overall, well, hopefully the guys will be able to make a race of it. Hopefully we don't have too many incidents. We can get some good racing tonight on, I think, probably my favorite large oval in the entire world. So maybe that's high praise, but I do certainly love my Michigan. So, well, as we see the pace car take the grid for our warm-up lap for the race tonight, let me first just pull down all of our graphics and head to your qualifying results. And I think it only fitting that the man who won the All-Star race and did choose this exact track, Mr. Michael Krobach, will be your pole sitter for tonight's race. You see him in the background there on the bottom of your screen in that gray and blue 72 HPP simulations of the car there, the Toyota Camry driven by Michael Krobach. To his outside in the front row, Logan Paxa, your championship winner. I can now officially say only 27 thousandths of a second behind Michael in his qualifying lap. So should be hopefully a very close battle between those two just based on the race pace and qualifying. After that, Devin Crosby and Josh Gallagher, the two Lad Pedal Motorsports affiliate teammates of Michael Krobach, two guys with very good oval experience in their own right as well, will start third and fourth on the grid. Kip Stevens and Andrew Bedrosian, two men that, well, I don't unfortunately have too much personal relationship with yet. I just really haven't talked to them much, but I know they are iRacing veterans in their own right, and I'd imagine they'll probably have a pretty good race tonight, all things considered. After that, Justin Lewick and Rich Foligno rounding out the fourth row. Justin and Rich have both had a very good run as of late in terms of the last few races at both Daytona and Summit Point. Justin again in that battle with Devin, who starts third for that battle for the third position in the championship. So should be an interesting storyline to watch all night. After that, Jordan West and John Guerra in the fifth row. Manuel Guerra and Logan Ferguson will round out the sixth row. And that makes up your 12 driver grid for tonight, because once again, longtime viewers of this series will know that my name ends up in all the graphics and I can never remove it. So well, there's me. I am your host tonight. I always forget to say it. I should probably let you guys know if you're new to these broadcasts. I'm Marshall Crocker Jr. I broadcast the Karts to Computers Iverson series. I also run it from a what's the word? From a setup perspective. I don't know. I run it on the technical side from the background, so I host all the races and everything. And well, really, I started this as a kind of a way to let guys that, well, because of the so stuck with simulation because it's a iRacing game, but for those of us that unfortunately couldn't make it out to actual real-life races here during COVID-19, it seemed like a good way for people to be able to make it out to the series and, well, at least be able to run any meaningful races against other competition with, well, good fans like you guys that show up to all these broadcasts. And, well, I figured it was just a nice way to give them the experience that they unfortunately could be having on the real track, and that I also wish I was having on the real track. But hence we started this series 10 races ago, and 10 races later we're getting ready for our final race of season 1. I think we had a pretty good turnout there that I checked on the YouTube side a little bit earlier, so good to see. Hope everybody enjoys the race tonight. If everybody wants to, again, if any of you that are new to this broadcast, or any of you that want to maybe throw some questions in there in the chat side, or want to ask me some questions, or just really anything you want to say for the final race of the season tonight before we head off to season 2 in a few weeks, absolutely feel free to leave it in the chat. So see the guys getting ready, stacked up 2 wide, ready to go for the final start of this season of the Karts to Computers Iverson series. Let's see, Michael Krobach will take us to green this time by in the 72 car, getting ready to take the green flag. We're on board with Logan Paxa here, but behind Michael is the Skittles car of Devin Crosby. On the outside row, in row 2, is the 96 Ford of Josh Gallagher. We'll get probably more used to the paint schemes momentarily. Unfortunately, they kind of won't get a good idea until we see them on the track for a little bit. Normally I'd have time to do a recap of all the paint schemes for all the drivers tonight, but you see our 12 car field getting ready to go. Should be 6 clean lines of cars here, but maybe some guys are going to lag back, just aren't feeling quite as comfortable with the setup. But we're going to see the pace car take the hard left turn onto pit road. Michael Krobach is the start car. He goes when he goes, and everybody's responsibility is to follow him. We're going to see the green flag momentarily. Gets on the loud pedal, very fitting, Loud Pedal Motorsports, and here we go. Michael Krobach, final green flag of the season on the loud pedal. Here we go for lap 1 of round 10 at Michigan International Speedway. and a all clean lap 1 for lap 1 of 100 in tonight's race. We saw a few changes in driver position in that very first lap. Justin Lulick making the pass on Andrew Bedrosian, running his first race, tonight's rookie, Mr. Bedrosian, but Justin Lulick will make the pass in that Dunder Mifflin car. Office fans should appreciate that paint scheme. It's certainly one of my favorites tonight. As well, Logan Ferguson in the 11th position, past Manuel Guerra, who looks like didn't get a chance to start tonight's race, unfortunately, so hopefully it's just a temporary issue and he'll be able to get it all ironed out. But, well, as is typically the case at a track like Michigan, where tire conservation and really planning out your entry into every corner can be so paramount, most guys will probably set up into a single file line and try to focus on their line on their own, rather than focusing on the draft or trying to run side by side, because you never want to waste your tires too early. But back in the field a little bit, I think that's Josh Gallagher, and I think that's Kip Stevens battling for position. Stevens there with the iRacing logo on his nose, that green and black 13 car. Stevens going to come right up on the back of Gallagher. He's going to back off a little bit, so Gallagher will keep the position for the time being, but Josh in the draft of his Allowed Put on Motorsports teammate, Mr. Devin Crosby, there in that Skittles 63 car up ahead. Back behind them is Andrew Bedrosian there in that 51 car, the Ricky Bobby entry, where he's, you got the Bobcat and everything, all the classics from one of the greatest movies of all time, Talladega Nights. But Justin Lulick again in that Dunder Mifflin car and that 5 white and blue car we mentioned, following in there behind Mr. Kip Stevens, tonight's another one of tonight's 2 rookies. Behind them is Rich Foligno, who's had a great series of races the last few there in the 80 car, and that I believe it's his own personal custom entry, so props to him on that. We see up ahead a little bit, Kip Stevens maybe going to throw the car underneath Josh Gallagher there if he's able to sacrifice the tire where it would take to get up underneath. No, Josh is going to come out of the corner with the momentum, so we should be able to hold the position for the time being. I'm going to look for a better position to watch this race from, because it's an awkward racetrack to try to get camera angles for him. Up ahead, it looks like Michael Krobach and Logan Paxar are kind of the two-man tandem running this race so far, at least in the first, 4 laps so far? Yeah, so as we see here, Michael Krobach, that nice wide shot that so it shows you just how close Logan Pax has got, really. Look at the gap back to Crosby in the Skittles car back there. Got a battle developing here as well between Josh Gallagher and Kip Stevens. Stevens once again in that 13 car, going to try to throw it underneath the 16 or the 96 of Josh Gallagher. Comes close this time, but Gallagher will block him off. Justin Lulick still in the catbird seat in that battle, just maybe waiting for an opportunity there. Maybe he's going to go under Stevens this time. I don't know if he's got enough of a run, but no, he'll slot in behind. So Gallagher up there just still trying to block from whoever wins that battle behind him. Let's check up front a little bit and look behind Michael Krobach. He's actually starting to break away from Pax a little bit, but I think we're having a pass here. Yeah, Lulick will get Kip Stevens, so he did get the run he needed. He's going to block him off, and Kip Stevens will try the undercut. He's going to head under, so Stevens may make the pass back if he's able to get a good run up into corner 3. Setting up here this time, they're going to go side by side. I think he's got the run to make it, but almost clips him in the nose. He does. Taps Lulick, sends him around. Lulick manages to save it. Oh, and he's going to make a contact with Rich Foligno and Andrew Bedrosian behind him, so contact with those drivers. No caution that I've noticed as of yet. I don't believe we have one, so managed to save it. Awkward incident there, but Bedrosian's there. Who is that going through the grass? It's Rich Foligno running all the way through the grass. Let's check back. Once again, we do have a replay slide, but it takes a little bit too long to use in a battle with such ferocity as the ones in the beginning of this race tonight, so we're going to hurry up and see here. So let's check. So Kip Stevens at the time. No, that's after, right before or right after it happened. So Stevens coming in side by side here. Side by side with Lulick. We see Lulick up top there, kind of slides down onto him and maybe tries to take the lane off. So Stevens holds his ground, taps him in the quarter panel, and then behind you see Lulick making contact with Bedrosian, who goes into Foligno there. So chaos there. The 68 of Jordan West, I think, was able to avoid it. So West moves up to 7th currently. So chaotic incident there a little bit, but I think everybody managed to make it out okay. Let's see Michael Krobach, Logan Pax up at the front, weren't involved. Devin Crosby and Josh Gallagher, the 2 teammates, in 3rd and 4th respectively. Stevens still running in 5th, still in the draft of Gallagher actually, so he was able to recover quite well. Justin Lulick back there a little ways, also managed to recover well, but I thought he may have had a little bit of damage, and I think he might have a little bit of cosmetic damage, but I don't think it should affect him in terms of his aerodynamics or his airflow, so hopefully he should be okay to run the race at full speed. Then it's Jordan West and John Guerra there. Andrew Bedrosian managed to save it in his very first race in the series, so involved in the incident quite heavily. It went almost all the way around, but he was able to save it. Rich Foligno also went out with too much cosmetic damage, so he should be okay. No need of a pit stop, to my understanding. Then after that, it is Logan Ferguson. Logan Ferguson after that, and then I think that is it for tonight's race. Once again, I don't believe Manuel Guerra was able to start tonight's race successfully, so hopefully maybe we'll be able to see him later in the race, but for the time being, it looks like Mr. Michael Krobach will hold the first position in tonight's race. I mean, he won the All-Star race, and NASCAR is kind of his discipline, so maybe for the time being, Logan's just trying to conserve tires, or you got to wonder, because I can make predictions all I want about strategy of these drivers, but really, until you get inside their heads, you have no idea what they're thinking or what they're planning long-term for this 100-lap race. And we come to the 10th of the way through, 10% of the way through the race point. So important to mention as well, we will eventually have a interview with Mr. Josh Gallagher in car. So hopefully we don't get too many cautions today, but if we do, then we would get a caution for that. If we were to get a caution, I should say, I will be interviewing Michael in car, which we should see more commonly next season in the series, but kind of a trial thing tonight. So I just kind of assume, seeing as Michael definitely one of the probably the most experienced guy in NASCAR in this entire event, wouldn't be surprised if he had a good race, and definitely an exciting one to talk about. But exciting might be right. A moment from now, as Logan Paxa is in the draft and Michael Krobach perhaps getting ready to make a move happen here. He's sitting right in that middle groove. He's following his line almost exactly, so gotta wonder if they both just found the exact same line in practice and they're going to implement it all they can. I know their practice times and their qualifying times are almost identical. I think Paxa actually had the fastest lap in all of practice, so well, lagged off a little bit that lap there, but starting to break away once again is Michael Krobach. Let's look back in the field a little bit. You see Devin Crosby kind of been running this consistent distance ahead of Josh Gallagher this entire stint, so remaining in third is Devin Crosby, and Josh Gallagher in that 96 car there, and that I think the only fourth in the field as well. Quite a few Toyota Camrys running in tonight's race, but back from him then is Kip Stevens there in the 13 car, running once again his first race of the season. Back from him is Justin Lillick, who after being involved in that incident a moment ago with Stevens, did manage to recover quite well, so props to Justin. He's actually starting to catch him once again. I think maybe we can compare lap times a lap from now just to see if that is indeed the case, but back from him, Jordan West in the 68 car a little ways back. I believe that's an Uber-sponsored ride of, as I said, Mr. Jordan West. After that, John Guerra actually keeping impressively close to the pack here. I know he, to my understanding, I don't think he has a ton of oval racing experience, but he's a guy that I think has run every race this season, and the championship points are looking good for him as a result. So if he was able to get a good finish for tonight's race, then it could pay off quite well for Mr. John Guerra. After that, Andrew Verjogen in the 51 was involved in an incident a moment ago. He started 6th in tonight's race, but he's moved all the way back tonight, so maybe he'll be able to recover, and I think he's running good lap times if I can tell from my pop-up here, so looks like he's having a pretty good run so far. After that, Rich Foligno also involved in an incident, which is kind of unfortunate because Rich has been having a great stretch of races as of late, and he's one of our guys who always puts in the most practice laps and definitely the most effort I've seen of anybody to succeed at these races, so it's starting to pay off, and I think tonight if we get another caution in the next few laps, he was able to bunch up back to the field, then he could come away with a very good race finish tonight. And Logan Ferguson in the 89 Interstate car, I think that is a Kyle Busch entry as well in the real-life NASCAR series, but he is currently running in 11th, and I'm wondering if he has any damage or anything there. He's kind of swaying the front end a little bit, so I wonder if that's just a force feedback situation. I know some people have their force feedback up in their wheel really high, and that could be the case, but well, looks like he's currently having to avoid getting put a lap down by Michael Krobach, but Kip Stevens will head into the pits. Apparently we don't get feed from his car. It just says out entirely. I'm wondering if that's a internet connectivity issue. I certainly hope not, but we do have cars actually pitting at the moment. Logan Ferguson and Manuel Guerra will both come in this time, and the race doesn't want to show them. There we go. So there we go, Manuel Guerra and Logan Ferguson coming out of the pits. We actually have this cool pit lane graphic that I had, or this pit lane camera angle I haven't used before, but well, there we go. Hopefully we'll use that a few more times in tonight's race if need be, but I think that was Logan Ferguson there that missed his box, so he'll have to back up and reset. And back to the front of the field, Michael Krobach and Logan Pax are still within a half second of each other. This battle that's been evident all season, and it's resulted in the championship battle being as close as it is, but Devin Crosby made contact with the wall, and now he's losing the back end. I think he may manage to save it. Oh, he won't. He almost goes sideways. Still not technically crashed. Manages to kind of save it. He's way out in no man's land there, so he is still getting the back end around. Finally settles the car down. Will that be a caution? Surprisingly, no caution off of that incident, so he'll get the engine revved up back up to speed, but we will have to check how that did indeed happen. Again, ladies and gentlemen, I promise we'll have a graphic for this for replays next season, but it's just sometimes I don't quite have enough time to use it. See Devin Crosby coming out of corner 2 there, just makes a little bit of contact with the top wall, but I thought he managed to save it. I think that must have like bent his steering column or something in his steering was messed up, but big contact with that high wall, bounces off it one more time, and then spends quite a while seesawing the wheel trying to get it to come back. So, well, he is still on the racetrack as we speak, has not pitted as of yet, so hopefully he is able to continue in tonight's festivities. And it'd be a shame to see one of our guys that's competing for the 3rd position in our championship with Justin Lula completely out of tonight's race. So good to see that that shouldn't be the case. I was checking Kip Stevens still not on the racetrack tonight, so hopefully just a temporary thing and he's able to get back out there. But still, that battle for 1st and 2nd remains as it was, and about 7 seconds back, really just driving by himself at the moment, is Josh Gallagher, another guy that has a fair amount of iRacing experience, especially in ovals. And I remember personally racing against him in the All-Star race. He was one of the quickest guys out there, so I would by no means be surprised if he were able to have a very successful race tonight as well. But Rich Foligno, I believe, just passed Jordan West there. We have kind of a 3-man battle forming there. West's festivities may not be done there. That's Andrew Bedrosian in the 51 car. Started 6th, currently 7th, looking to make his way back up to where he qualified. So maybe as we see this high camera angle, Bedrosian will be able to get him. Yeah, West is way off the pace, so Bedrosian's going to pass underneath, and it's going to make the pass up to 6th position. So Rich Foligno gets back in the top 5. He started 8th, so very impressive that he went from an incident all the way back up to 5th position. Andrew Bedrosian will officially make the pass on Jordan West, who sits in 7th position now, still 2 spots up from where he started, so not a bad race at all for him. And then John Guerra there, a ways back in 8th position. Devin Crosby, after that incident a moment ago, managed to save it and is currently in 9th position, which, I mean, if we get a caution, I don't think would mean that his race would be by any means over. I think he's about 9 seconds ahead of our leaders behind there. So yeah, you see Michael Krobach and Logan Paxa just entering corner 1, so I think he definitely should have enough time to break away. And if we were to get a caution for another incident, which we've had 2 non-caution incidents so far, or even if we were just able to get the pit stops to cycle it properly, he could break away once again and not go a lap down, which with a field as small as this one, going a lap down is kind of a death sentence when it comes to any hope of winning the race. So Jordan West will now enter the pit lane here as we see the 2 cars in the background go by. I think that's Devin Crosby making a pass on John Guerra, so Devin will move up to 7th position in his fight back to the front of the field. John Guerra still moved up 2 spots since the beginning of the race, so props to him. Still a very good start to the race for him. We see Jordan West, and I think there's somebody else in the pits there, but Manuel Guerra, I think, just entered this time by, so 27 car will head in. I will start putting up the position gain graphic there on the timing tower to show you just how much people have moved up there. So Michael Krobach and Logan Paxa, obviously they were your top 2 a moment ago, and we're going to head there because only a 4/10 gap between those 2 right now, but the 72 and the 16 have been pretty consistently running where they are all race, so they have not moved any positions. But Josh Gallagher, who started 4th, moved up to 3rd past Devin Crosby, who, as you remember a moment ago, he got loose coming out of corner 2, hit the wall, and took damage that unfortunately lost him about 6 positions in total. Managed just to make 2 of them up already, so impressive comeback for him. But then after that, Justin Lewick and Rich Foligno gained 3 spots apiece. Manuel Guerra sliding across the racetrack, coming out of pit road. What happened there? We'll go through this in a moment, but now backing up into pit lane. I'm not sure what happened there. Let's just quickly check. You see the 2 leaders going by. Glad that they weren't involved in that, but he comes out of pit road. Maybe just overcooks the tires a little bit. Maybe gets on the gas too hard. And yeah, you see him exiting. Oh, that must have been scary for Logan Paxa seeing the car coming up the track at him. But I think he just got on the gas a little bit too quick coming out of the pits. So there is now officially a caution. So Manuel Guerra's incident did cause a caution indeed. Unfortunately, based on my setup, I don't see the caution until I check it on the screen. So unfortunately, maybe that was a little bit delayed. But well, we went a 5th of the race without one. Quite impressive for an oval race, seeing as our Phoenix race a few weeks ago was absolute chaos. But Michael Krobach and Logan Paxa, the top 2, managed to have a very successful and very clean first stint of the race. So really everything going as planned for those 2 gentlemen. Josh Gallagher now starting to catch up to the top 3 of the field. He as well, I don't think, has had any major incidents today. Justin Lewick was semi-involved in one and does have cosmetic damage as a result. He's got 2 quick repairs, so he can feel free to use one on that cosmetic damage if he wants. There's a chance that it isn't purely cosmetic, and it will indeed have effects on his race car going forward, but I can neither confirm nor deny that because I'm really not sure the severity of what he's dealing with. So Justin Lewick in 4th. Rich Foligno, who was also involved in the same incident as Lewick, will move up to 5th position there on that stint and all the way up from 8th. So he will file out if he's able to pit for tires and nobody does pass him, then he would still file out in 5th position. So the very successful season for the 80 car of Rich Foligno would continue. Andrew Bedrosian making his debut tonight, also involved in that same incident as Lewick and Foligno. Those 3 drivers in 4th, 5th, and 6th, all having a very impressive comeback to those spots tonight. After that, Devin Crosby in the 7th position, also some damage similar to Lewick, but as you'll remember, his incident was a solo one, but he's already moved up 2 spots after in the aftermath of it. So hopefully should still be a good race for him so far tonight. John Guerra and Jordan West after that. Now we see the drivers starting to head down to pit road. We can use our pit road graphic once again. Kind of a nice one there just to show you the wide shot of the guys heading in tonight. Krobach and Paxa will have the top two pit positions here in terms of their pit boxes, because obviously the further ahead you start, the further ahead you pit in any race on iRacing. So the two guys will head in. Devin Crosby's pit stall is of course open, but Rich Foligno, I don't know where his pit box is. Way back. I think he just missed it there. You see there in the 80s, just heading through cars. Cars in pit road on iRacing do not have textures, meaning you can drive right through them, just for your information. Josh Gallagher, what a pit stop. He manages to come out ahead of Logan Paxa. I'm not sure how he managed to do that. That 96 car, the Lead Pedal Motorsports team had a Michael Krobach there. I'm not sure if he took less tires, less fuel, or what, but he will cycle out there ahead of Logan Paxa. He'll make the pass. There's a pun. There wasn't a pun there. I was going to try it, but Andrew Petrosian will also make up two positions there in fourth spot. So up 2 spots from sixth where he started, and after that incident earlier that he was kind of semi-involved in. Good to see he's making a comeback there. Justin Lulick will file out in 5th position, as well as Rich Foligno behind in 6th. I know he missed his pit box, but I think seeing as there were only 6 main drivers that were caught up to the field that pitted that time by it, shouldn't have too much of an effect on him. John Garrett will now exit the pits as well. He is sitting in 7th position, moved up 3 spots from qualifying. And Devin Crosby, who has moved back 5, but because of his incident a moment ago, now we'll use his quick repair, and he should have a completely new Toyota Camry there ready to go for that next green flag start. So hopefully he'll be able to catch up on this next stint and try to move his way through the field if he can. Now we see Jordan West, Logan Ferguson, and Manuel Guerra all pitting this time by. The 89 car there of Ferguson leading the row, and then it's Jordan West there in the 68 behind. I think Jordan West still in the lead lap if I remember correctly. Never mind, he is 1 lap down, so must have gotten passed by the leaders in that last stint. And then Manuel Guerra will head in that time by. Oh, Ferguson also missed his stall. Manuel Guerra finds his. So yeah, sometimes when you have a car sitting in front of your stall in iRacing, especially in tracks like this where they're so kind of smushed together just because of the oval setup, it can be tough to try to find your pit box and see your pit sign sticking out of the wall there. I mean, in real life NASCAR, you luckily have a spotter in your ear telling you where your box is, but unfortunately, I think most drivers don't have that same liberty here. I do know, in fact, that I believe Marco Felice, normal driver of our series, because of his issues, is spotting for Justin Lulick in that 5 car in the 5th position. So, well, Justin looking for a very good finish tonight. I know Devin's got the iRacing Oval background, and well, now Justin's got a very solid iRacing spotter of his own. I know Marco Felice has really had an incredible year overall thus far this season, so it's unfortunate that he couldn't finish the season out with us tonight, but he is in the air of Justin Lulick and should be a pretty good spotter if I had to guess for the 5 car there. But as you can see, the lights on the pace car are off, so we get ready to go green for the 2nd time today, first restart of the race. Michael Krobach will once again lead the field to green. We're going to head to the chopper cam this time, because maybe even flip cam, because unfortunately when iRacing really doesn't like to give me good camera angles, they absolutely hate them. Normally it's trees, but tonight it's fans. So, well, we should see the pace car there heading and taking that hard left turn into pit road. There we go. Michael Krobach is the start driver for the 2nd restart of the day. Gets on the loud pedal. Rich Foligno is going to fly up the outside of drivers on that restart. My goodness, green flag goes for Michael Krobach. Now Foligno is making the pass on Gallagher. What in the world happened on that start? Foligno with some huge passes there. Dives back, almost makes contact with Gallagher. Gallagher gets underneath, but what in the world did we just watch? I am not sure what just happened, but if I had to guess, we talked about it pre-race. I think the rule is for NASCAR, you can make whatever passes you want on lap 1 as long as they're on the outside on the restart. I think what he did is he just committed to that hard, got a great jump, and just flew by everybody in front of him. What a start for Foligno. I hope he doesn't get a penalty to lose those positions, because that was a fascinating move. He moved up, I think, like 3 spots on that restart. So the 80 of Rich Foligno, what a start for him. But up ahead, Josh Gallagher and Logan Paxa, that battle for 2nd. Gallagher gaining a spot on Paxa in the pits that time by, but now Paxa's going to head to the low side, coming into 1. Going to go side by side there. The 16 and the 96 going to head to the low side, but Gallagher's going to be able to keep his momentum up on the outside and make the pass. Or should I say maintain the position. They did go side by side there, but it was his spot heading in, and it was his spot heading out. So Gallagher and Paxa, that battle will no doubt continue. Paxa's got a huge run on him there, but don't count Foligno out either. He's got a pretty good run in Paxa of his own. He's going to head right to the bottom and start to wear out those tires a little bit, but if he can make it work, no, he's going to have to take a penalty for that start, as we guessed. I would assume that's why he's heading to the inside line. So There we see Bedrosian and Devin Crosby there in 4th and 5th position now, respectively. Justin Lulick back a little ways from them. Once again, as I mentioned, I think our only driver in here with the spotter, so his spotter, Marco Felice, would no doubt be telling him that Jordan West is starting to chase him right behind. Jordan West is, of course, a lap down, but as you remember from races like the Indy 300, Jordan's one of those really competitive racing drivers that will battle as hard as he needs to get laps back, so no doubt we will see a battle there if the 68 is able to catch Justin Lulick. Off the restart, John Guerra up to 3rd here. Josh Gallagher is making a pass on Logan Paxa, I think, or maybe the other way around. Yeah, the other way around indeed. Paxa will make the pass on Josh Gallagher coming out of corner 4, so as we come across the start-finish line, they're going to go side by side. Looks like he didn't quite have the run to clear him entirely. Gallagher's going to head to the top side. Doesn't quite manage to clear him, does Mr. Logan Paxa in the 16 Alpine Stars car. Going to go side by side once again, but finally he clears him up into 1. Gallagher may try the undercut on him, or sorry, yeah, I think it is the undercut. I mix that up with the pit maneuver all the time. Still in his draft, though. Let's look behind Logan Paxa for the time being. We'll use a bit of a different camera angle that I don't normally use, but trying to switch it up these last few races. So you see there, we're going to look at the right rear tire there of maybe a little bit too loud. Sorry about that. But you see the right rear tire there, Logan Paxa, and then the background is the 96 Ford of Josh Gallagher trying to make that pass back once again. Impressive graphics from iRacing. This is really one of those close-up graphics that gives you a better idea of just how beautiful this game, this simulation can look sometimes. But those top 3 starting to break away. Very impressive laps being run by all of them there. Andrew Bedrosian as well. We shouldn't count him out making his debut tonight. To my understanding from his background, he does have quite the iRacing experience himself, so no surprise that he is managing to run 4th position right now. Devin Crosby as well, when you talk about iRacing oval experience, especially NASCAR. I mean, I think he finished 3rd in our All-Star race this season. He was absolutely quick in the NASCAR. I remember he was, post-race, nice enough to give me some advice on NASCAR races going forward, just because based on how I was running tire wear, I definitely needed it. Yeah, definitely one of the fastest guys in the field. Now that he's got his quick repair and is headed out with a fully fresh Toyota Camry, no doubt would I be surprised if he were to head back through the field again and maybe get all the way back up to his 3rd position he qualified in. But now we look at Logan Paxa, still managing to chase down Michael Krobach quite impressively, but he's got the 96 of Josh Gallagher following in right behind. That train of 3 is pulling away from the field behind him. Andrew Bedrosian, though, still actually does manage to stay on the draft for the most part, I think, on Josh Gallagher, so really anything could happen in the next few laps going forward. We're going to look back a bit just to see if Jordan West is catching on Justin Lulick. He still remains closer and closer every time I check, but again, not on the same lap, so it wouldn't be for position. Got to wonder if he will pursue as hard as he would there, as you'd expect if you were on the lead lap, I should say. But Rich Foligno, again, we saw he had to take that penalty for really the crazy restart he did in that very last, our only green flag restart of the day, so well, he is on the same lap as Jordan West, so if he's able to run some good laps and pass Jordan West clean on track, that would be quite impressive. But West, I think, running a little bit too quick, I should say, for that to be the case. So Logan Ferguson appears to be out of this race, as well as Kip Stevens. Again, got to wonder what the case with that was. It wouldn't have been penalties or anything, so must just be a technical thing. As well, Manuel Guerra does not seem to be currently running on track either. And Krobach, actually, as we speak, let's throw up the lap time graphic. We haven't in a little while, but check the laps between him and Paxa. So running almost even these last few times. Doesn't look like any huge discrepancies. Paxa was running a little bit quicker that last time by, but these last 2 laps, Krobach's gained 9/10 of a second on him. So maybe he's just lost the draft a little bit. Now they stop focusing on the battle with Josh Gallagher. Gallagher is actually dropping back more than Paxa is from Krobach. So let's throw up the lap times with those two. Paxa actually running the quickest lap of the race there, a 41 flat. That's quite the impressive time compared to the ones I was seeing in practice and qualifying there. But yeah, Gallagher just a few tenths slower every lap these last few times. So Paxa made the pass clean and is now pulling away from Gallagher. So look back a little bit. You see Josh Gallagher there, as I've mentioned him a few times now, with Andrew Bedrosian behind him, about a second back. And then a second back from him is Devin Crosby. So everybody's spreading out a little bit. Now it'll become a case of pure race pace and who's able to catch who in this next little stint. So I think Justin Lulick passed John Guerra, or at least on my screen. I don't know what happened to Justin, but lost his feed for a moment. We will now go to our first break, actually. I was planning on taking one during that last caution break, but it was actually quite the quick caution for sure. So tonight's race overall is actually going by pretty quick. We're already a third of the way there. So I will take my first quick break of the race. We're going to head on board with Logan Paxa, and we will be back momentarily for the final round of the Karts to Computers Ericsson Series Season 1. And I am back after that first of a few quick breaks we're going to take tonight. Just because, again, when you don't have a co-commentator in the booth with you, it can be a little bit tough for these longer stints to try to keep up the entire time. But I did check the chat a little bit. I know the audio was a little bit questionable at the beginning, so hopefully I got all that figured out. It can be a little bit tough just because my own personal side, on the technical side, I actually don't have the entire race audio feed on my own of the race itself. So unfortunately, sometimes I can't hear the cars and have reference for just how loud they are. So again, absolutely thank you guys, and let me know if that happens once again in the broadcast. But good to see a very good response tonight. People very excited, and I did see that people want the track map up. Once again, it can kind of cut off the screen at times, but that's only in bigger battles. So now, as we see, speaking of battles, Devin Crosby heading to the inside of Andrew Bedrosian. Going to make the pass for third position here in the top four. Oh, actually, I shouldn't count Bedrosian out quite yet. Looks like enough of a run by Devin Crosby to make the pass there, but now we can go to the chopper cam because they're going to go side by side here up into corner 3. Crosby may have cleared him, but if Bedrosian gets a good entry here, this might not be over. The Skittles M&M 63 of Devin Crosby now has Bedrosian chasing him as an inverse of what we just saw. But yes, sorry to everybody who was asking before. When the battles are a little bit more intense, it can be tough to try to show everybody and put the track map up. But well, they've all spread out a little bit, so we'll throw it up and give you a better idea of who is where on track. Once again, for those of you who are watching your first broadcast tonight, the numbers on the track map, as you see going around and around right now, indicate based on position. So the 1 would be Michael Krobach at the moment, the 2 would be Logan Paxa, the 3 would be Josh Gallagher, and the 4 has just become Devin Crosby, battling as we speak with Andrew Bedrosian in the 51. Bedrosian, that black, yellow, and red car, may head to the bottom of Devin Crosby. Actually, he's just going to wait in line there, head to the top. So maybe his plan is to just run Devin Crosby out of tires as he tries to defend, but that time Crosby got a great corner entry and is just starting to take off there. So this battle may be all but over here for the time being, but Bedrosian, again, for a first-time rookie in our series, is having a great debut race. I mean, the final race of our season, but he's making a statement for next season if he's able to keep this pace up for some of our other tracks to start next year. It should be noted that, unfortunately, we don't quite know the official date for Race 1 yet. Again, it's presumed on my end to be June 12th of this year, but we can guarantee, actually, that the track will be Talladega Superspeedway, a track even bigger than Michigan. And really should be one of the most exciting pack races in all of iRacing, just based on, well, kind of the bump drafting dynamics. And really, if for those of you out there who have never watched a pack race or have never watched a restrictor plate race in NASCAR, it is a fun thing to watch, and I know it'll be an even more fun race to watch. Hence why we're gonna, wait, what did I say? Not the point. Yeah, it should be an absolutely fun race to start off the season. I'm really looking forward to it, and that'll be in a few weeks, whenever that ends up being. But I know we're running the Legacy Xfinity cars tonight. These cars range from between 2014 and 2016 from where they're from. But next season we're going to the current Cup model, so maybe a little bit newer cars and should run a little bit more responsibly and more smoothly. So the tires will be updated. I think they're going to have a little bit more grip based on the tire model being newer. Overall, it should just be a completely new NASCAR car next season. It won't be the Xfinity, it'll be the actual quickest Cup Series cars out there. So I think that should increase the quality of the NASCAR races overall, and I'm looking forward to that change for next season. So yes, NASCAR Cup Series at Talladega will start off Season 2. And then I think we cap it off with Daytona in the same car for Season 2. So overall, quite a few more NASCAR races we're adding in next year, and we only have the 2 this season, and one of them wasn't even official. It was the All-Star race, but for the season itself, we are going to go to quite a few more Cup Series races, as well as more Indy road course races. I know we did the one at Daytona Road Course a few weeks ago, and it had good feedback from everybody, so we are going to add more of those next season. We're going to head to Watkins Glen. We're going to head to Mid-Ohio, a track that is very near and dear to my heart. Definitely one of the most fun ones I've ever been to. I've been to very few real-life road courses, so definitely a personal connection for me there, but it is a very fun track, and looking forward to that. But to get back to tonight's race, for the time being, Michael Krobach still remains the race leader. I think he's led all but maybe one lap. I don't think he ever gave the lead up for a long period of time, or maybe not at all. So Michael Krobach now about a second and a half ahead of Paxa. Paxa, no doubt, has fallen out of the draft in the straightaway from him. So, well, if he wants any hope of catching him on the current stint, he's going to need to do it in the corners. And Krobach looks virtually solid in the corners for the time being. So, looks like it will maybe a matter of time before, or maybe, I don't know what the saying for that is, but it may be a little bit of time before we are able to see a battle develop again for that first position, if at all. Again, wouldn't be surprised if we were to see another caution, but overall, everybody's been really clean tonight. As you see, Josh Gallagher there running in third position, another guy with a lot of oval experience. But Justin Luke's actually going to head into the pits this time. Yeah, he will. Sorry, I just always want to check because my graphics like to tell me people are in the pits when they're really not, and it can be really irritating. But Luke will head into the pits this time. Maybe he's just getting fed up with tires, or I don't think he'd be running out of fuel because I think he did pit on that last stint. So the 5 car will pull into the pits, hopefully not miss his box, and locks up, makes it in clean. So good to see. He'll use his quick repair, get all of his damage fixed up. I don't think he would have pitted before then if he still does have damage, because everybody in that first pit stop who needed it probably would have used a quick repair, and he did not. So, well, we'll see if Lewick does get passed by Jordan West in the 8th position. I think he will if you check on the track map. No, actually, maybe not. West is just about to cross the start-finish line. Actually, he's heading into the pits too, so maybe now is going to be the big pit stop lap for everybody out there. But now West is going to crash on pit entrance. Going to throw it back a few seconds just to see how that happened, but I think he might probably just checked up, a little bit too hard and makes contact with the wall in the pits. We saw that a few times ago, or a few races ago at Daytona Road Course. We had a few guys do that exact same thing. So sometimes if you come into the pits a little bit too quick and you check it up too hard, well, you can lose the back end and send yourself into the pit wall. I know one of the things that I definitely practice really at any track I run for an official series race is I just try to practice my pit entrances over and over and over and over, because, well, it can save valuable seconds during the race. And as we saw a few laps ago when Josh Gallagher passed Logan Paxa in the pits, it can definitely get you some track positions that can be super handy for, well, really, as long as you're able to defend him. And Logan was eventually able to make the pass on Gallagher, so, well, it didn't quite work out the way I'm sure Josh would have wanted to, but he is still running a very quick race overall, so by no means is giving up that spot to Paxa going to play a huge role in his race as a whole for the time being. So should be mentioned actually that Devin Crosby in that 63 Skittles car is starting to catch up to Gallagher in front of him. See that gap there down to about 0.5 of a second, just over half of a second, I should say. So Crosby's starting to catch up there to Gallagher, no doubt in his draft at this point. Running 2 very different race lines, as you can see. If you look where Crosby enters the corner as compared to Gallagher, actually we'll throw it in the rear view behind Gallagher just to get a better idea of what he's looking at behind him. But if you look at their lines into corner 3 as we go here the next time by, the Ford of Gallagher followed by the Toyota of Crosby. But as you see, he gets the slipstream here. He's going to start to close up a little bit in the straightaway. And then as Gallagher comes into the corner here, you see he's running about a half a lane up on, maybe even a full lane up on Devin Crosby there as he heads to the bottom, but running subtly different racing lines here. He's going to get a good run off the corner, does Devin Crosby, coming out of the exit of corner 4 there. So he's got the momentum. I don't think he'll be able to quite get up beside him on the outside, but should have a good run up into corner 1 here as we see if Crosby will be able to make it stick. He's going to have to wall up really hard, but makes it work. Gallagher's almost going to head into the outside wall. Crosby manages to make it by, so Devin Crosby went from an incident earlier where he made contact with the outside wall, wiped completely out, almost spun the thing, but got his quick repair, managed to get back on the race, and moves all the way up to 3rd position again. So again, ladies and gentlemen, that's why I provide him to the drivers, because really anybody with a complete car reset can do magical things, because, well, Devin used his reset and he is right back in tonight's race. So quick repairs is luckily a thing that iRacing has that unfortunately real life races don't. It'd be nice if guys that got in collisions could just instantly pop back out on track whenever they got the chance, but unfortunately that'll have to stick as an iRacing thing. So, well, Devin Crosby will factor out into 3rd position after that last stint, making a comeback, I think, all the way from 7th. I think he started on that last restart. So impressive run up through the field for Devin in the 63, and I think he may be still catching Logan and Michael ahead of him. So if we get one more pit stop cycle and he's able to make up time there, or if we just get an entire caution on its own, then, well, Devin could factor right back into the lead battle for tonight's race. As we watch him head around a few more times, let me just check the comments again, just to see if there's anything there. Audio's good to hear. Drivers for Season 2. Yeah, so I ended tonight's race. I'll do a little bit of information about Season 2, kind of give you the whole rundown spiel there, but I can kind of peek the window back a little bit on everybody that's confirmed for Season 2 of the Karts to Computers Racing Series in a few weeks, beginning at Talladega. Let me just run through our timing tower for the moment, just to see if I can give you a confirmation on any names that you're wondering if are going to be in there. So Michael Krobach, Logan Paxa, well, both are confirmed as drivers for Season 2. Devin Crosby, I believe, is all but confirmed for the next season. Josh Gallagher, I think, will be running a part-time schedule. I think based on his work schedule, I don't think he'll be able to run the entire season, but he will certainly be there part-time. Even if he's not in one of our official teams, then he will still be showing up to a lot of races. So he did win the very first race of the series as a whole, so it would be a shame to see him not go past Season 1, so I think he should be back. Andrew Bajorzin's a guy that I haven't really gotten a chance to talk to in real life much, or at least not outside of the racing series. So I think, as far as I understand, he should be back for pretty much a semi-full-time role for Season 2. So as well as Kip Stevens, I think both of them are signed up for next season, all but officially at this point. So it'll be good to have them back. John Guerra is officially signed up. Justin Lillick, I think, may have some schedule difficulties based on other series he's running in the real world rather than iRacing for some of our other guys. So Justin Lillick, definitely one of the bigger karting prospects I've ever met. So he's probably got a future outside of this series that he's looking to race in his free time as well. So actually, you see Justin Lillick in the background there in the 5 car, a lap down, probably trying to pass through the field to get that lap back. But yeah, Justin has a lot of real-world racing commitments that mean I don't think he'd be able to run the entire season. But if he were, that would be absolutely great because, I mean, Justin, one of our best drivers all season. He's fighting for 3rd place in the championship with actually the guy he's starting to chase down here. But because he's a lap down, it looks like unless something drastic were to happen, he were to get the lucky dog maybe on a caution a moment from now, then looks like that battle will need to happen on track. Actually, Luke's going to head to the bottom on Crosby this time by. Maybe we'll be able to clear him. Going to head side by side. Going to head all the way to the bottom. Should have the run off the corner on 4. Side by side as they cross the finish line, but I think he'll have the advantage heading into corner 1 here as we head just past halfway in tonight's race. So once again, it's been a pretty quick race so far. It's flying by on my end, and well, he will make the pass and no doubt probably take off based on just how much speed he has at the moment. So Justin Lillick still your lucky dog driver, meaning if we were to get a caution at any point before the end of tonight's race, he would get a free pass to move back onto the lead lap from being a lap down. Actually, John Garrett just goes a lap down this time by, so Luke would have to catch him first and then go for a caution, but John Garrett is actually going to pit this time by, if I do know correctly. Yep, so he'll head into the pits on the inside this time. Luke will make the pass for 6th, then Luke will gain a position and now move up into, once again, the lucky dog spot. So if we're able to get a caution, it would definitely benefit Luke, and we could see a battle reform there between him and the guy he just passed, Mr. Devin Crosby, for 3rd in the championship. So never do I hope for a caution, but if we were to get one, it would certainly make this a lot more interesting. So oh, I was going through the drivers, wasn't I? John Guerra has also confirmed. Rich Foligno has confirmed for next season. Haven't quite talked to Jordan West about it yet, but I think it sounds like he should be all but confirmed. Oh, sorry, yes, I did. So Jordan will be back. Logan will be back. Actually, I'll give you a little bit of a peek into a created team for next season. As I mentioned, the new teams format, where drivers kind of similar to F1 or NASCAR, will be 2 drivers per team. Then we'll have a team standings and an individual standings. There will be a prize payout for teams and individual, but overall, guys will team up and try to help each other in practice off the track and maybe help each other on the track if they can as well. So they'll have color-coordinated cars, similar numbers, and everything like that. But one of our teams for next season will be Team Logan. We'll have Logan Paxa and Logan Ferguson sharing a team together next year. Give a quick peek into the inside of the series for that one. So look forward to that. If you're one of our many Logan fans in the chat, I felt like I'm trying to create the most parity possible in terms of driver success this year so that everybody can have very similar team success next year, at least on paper. So it matched up. Their names matched up. And, I mean, they have a huge fan base in our chat. So hopefully those fan bases can band together and make quite the fan base for the team as a whole. So the 2 Logans are confirmed for next year and will be sharing a team. Manuel Guerra also will be back for next season, and he will be sharing a team with his brother, John Guerra. So Guerra Brothers Motorsports and, like, the Team Logan Autosport? I don't know. You guys can come up with the name of the 2 drivers themselves, but past that, Kip Stevens, as I mentioned, similar to Andrew Bedard, should be confirmed for next year. The 2 newcomers tonight, they should both be back for Season 2 of the series. And then M. Crocker, that is me. I will, of course, be back for Season 2 of the series, but once again, with the exception of unofficial races, which I will try to do more of, I'm trying to host more races similar to our All-Star race, where even if they don't have championship implications, I'm just going to throw up some live streams on my personal channel of races we do in our free time that I will be participating in. Because, again, I mean, I have an iRacing background as well, and as you saw in the All-Star race, I like to think I can give a pretty good glimpse into the eyes of a driver during one of these races. So if you were a fan of that live stream, we will be having more on my personal channel, and then I'll be sure to post the link in here, and I'll throw them in the channel playlist. But yeah, overall, I hope for a very successful second season. A few guys that you haven't seen in a few races just agreed to quit for the end of this season, but they will be back for Season 2. So overall, I have yet to confirm quite a few names, but ideally, we should have 24 drivers for next season on a consistent turnout, which 24 guys would be an absolutely huge turnout for this series. So we'll have to see that, and as many guys as I can guarantee for you guys out there at home to make these races as interesting as possible, it would be great. So once again, I'm just going to give a quick mid-race thank you to all of those of you who have come out to watch us again for our final race of this season. hopefully are going to be out there for all 16 races the next season. But, well, honestly, that's quite the commitment to make to our series. So if you guys are able to do that and show up to every broadcast, it means quite a bit to me. And I know some people in the chat, even right now, Heather and David, absolutely showing up to every race, giving support there. Definitely even, oh, I'm trying to tell who that was to the inside. I think that was Manuel Guerra heading off to the pits there. But they show up to every race. They give me helpful race tips, even from the side of Mr. Logan Paxa, in terms of glimpses into his race strategy and how it'll affect the race. So they've been absolutely great to have here every race of the season, as well as everybody else who comes out to support their drivers. I know Justin Lewick's got a great following at home. Logan Ferguson, the other Logan, has got a great showing every time. Really, all the Prime guys seem to get a lot of fans watching. And then I know Jean Guerra, he's got fans that like to come out and watch him as well. So really, again, it's great to know that some of you guys can have a glimpse into the racing styles and the racing success of maybe people you don't get to watch in real life. But in this discipline, if they're just going to be posted online, then it's I'm sure it's nice to kind of check in with your friends or family and see how their racing is going. So, well, if it's Logan Paxa and his family and his following, then, well, you've had quite the season to watch, haven't you? Because 6 races with wins, 6 races with poles, and overall just an incredible season for him. So, well, Logan Paxa there running with Devin Crosby behind him, finishing out your top 3 at the moment. So, Logan, not currently your race leader. That is Michael Krobach, who we've been on board with a few laps in a row. Andrew Bajosian will head into the pits this time. Krobach was slowing down in the corner a little bit there. I thought he might head into the pits that time by, but looks like he will not. He will stay out. So a moment from now, I'm actually going to put up the pit graphic just to give you a better idea of who pitted when and how pit strategy will factor into the finish of this race. But Andrew Bajosian heads into the pits this time. Guerra is still in the pits. I wonder if he has damage or something that is preventing him from getting back on track, because he has now been in the pits for almost 2 minutes. So wondering what's happening there for him, but Andrew Bajosian will get passed by Justin Lewick, who once again will remain your lead driver on the lead lap. Still your lucky dog driver if we were to get a caution right now. But as you can see on our track map, nobody really running near each other at the moment. Rich Foligno and Jordan West, I should mention, are also heading into the pits as well. But nobody really running too close on track right now that I would expect a caution to happen. So for the time being, it looks like we should have an all-green race until guys start to come into the pits, and then it could be chaos for sure, depending on where people cycle out. But well, for the time being, Krobach remains your race leader. Manuel Guerra is going to head into the pits there in the background. Good to see that he got whatever damage was plaguing him fixed. So he will head out that time by, and then it'll be still Krobach, Crosby, and Paxa, your top 3, not in that order, unfortunately. And then Josh Gallagher in 4th, your final driver on the lead lap. So very similar to our All-Star race, actually. I know everybody kind of factored out on the different laps there just based on pit strategy, because really in a race very similar to this, we had quite a few cautions at the beginning. I wouldn't even say we've had quite a few in this race. We had 1, and since then we've gone completely green. But in our All-Star race, we had a lot of cautions early while everybody tried to adjust to the tires and adjust to the new car model. But after that, we had a really good green flag stint. A lot of guys were managing to make up laps just because either their pit strategy was so much better, their long tire duration runs were much more reliable, just as we're seeing Michael Krobach's are tonight. And then in the end, it was a lot of guys in a lot of different laps, and the lucky dog definitely factored into that one late because we had plenty of cautions by the end of that. So unfortunately, I finished a few laps down there in 5th position, and I didn't even feel like I had a particularly awful race. So some of these guys, if they get the good pit strategy and they have really good long runs on tires, it can be absolutely crucial to their races and being able to lap guys. And I mean, if we do get a caution later, think about how this race has gone for Michael Krobach. If he were to get a caution, he would still maintain the lead, and he would only have 4 guys on his lap. I should say 5, because Justin Lewick would get the lucky dog, and then there'd be 5 guys with him. But man, on a track as big as Michigan, that's very impressive to have that many guys laps down, even with incidents. I don't think that's really been the cause for a lot of them. So I am a little bit surprised that Jordan West and Rich Foligno are that many laps down. I think they were only like 1 or 2 when they came into the pits that time, and now they're all these number of laps down. So I'm not sure if they had long-term damage that they needed to fix when they came in. But speaking of coming into the pits, Josh Gallagher will head in this time. Josh Gallagher in the 96 Ford Mustang there will head down pit lane. I got to wonder if his Lad Pedal Motorsports teammates will come in a moment. That's the 72 of Michael Krobach and the 63 of Devin Crosby. Devin Crosby running a little bit low, but no, I don't think he's coming in quite this time. So looks like it'll just be Josh Gallagher, those group, but, or that, whoa, whew, was a bit of an English mess up there, that group. And then Justin Luke will now take 4th position, actually, so remains the lucky dog driver. Actually, Devin Crosby's catching Logan Paxa quick. I know I was focusing on Season 2 for a little bit there, but while I was not paying attention, Devin has had an absolutely crazy last few laps. We'll give the camera to Logan Paxa there, and we'll just show you the lap time graphic for these two last few buys. So, yeah, just look at how quick Crosby has been on these last few laps. Made up almost 7/10 last lap to Paxa, so if Paxa's tires are dying, he may want to come in momentarily and come in for new ones, but no, he's going to stay out again, and we'll stick with it for a moment and see if Crosby's able to catch up once again. They crossed the line for lap 65, and let's see when it updates. 7/10 that time, so you got to think within a lap or two we'll see Devin Crosby make the pass on Logan Paxa, and then once that happens, really it'll be kind of chaos, because I'm honestly not sure what Devin would be able to have for Michael up ahead. I know Logan's been falling back a few tenths to Michael every single lap right now, just based on how well Michael, in my experience, raced against him, is able to conserve tires, but after that, Devin is making quite the push up through the field in that completely new car, so maybe this is his chance to make the pass for first and get his first race win of the season. I know he came close quite a few times, especially in our All-Star race. But yeah, Devin's one of our most successful drivers that has yet to record a win. The other two I'd mentioned would be Justin Lewick and Matt Clark from earlier in the season, who I know hasn't run quite a few races lately, but he had a pole at the beginning of the season for Laguna Seca, and he was just really quick, but unfortunately never got a win, and Devin Crosby's one of those guys as well, so really tonight doesn't really have an effect for him in terms of trying to win the championship outright, but with Justin Lewick a position behind him in 4th, the guy he's battling with for 3rd position in the championship, he does have a lot to prove tonight, but Michael Krobach will come into the pits. So coming in for the first time this race, Logan Paxa and Devin Crosby I think are going to come in this time because they are running off the pace, so sorry, I should say the second time Michael's pitted tonight, but we will use our pit lane camera again. Oh, and there we go. So you see the 3 drivers, Michael Krobach way in the background there, but to pull left into his pit stall, and then after that it's Logan Paxa with the white bumper on the car and Devin Crosby with the green one. So they come into the pits this time. We'll get rid of the lap graphic there. Let's once again go to the front of pit lane. That's Michael Krobach there in the 72 gray car. The Alpine Stars blue and orange car. The 16 Logan Paxa pulls in. Krobach gets the wheel spin and heads out of the pits there. Paxa, the invisible pit crew, unfortunately, from this view, but no doubt Paxa's car is getting fixed as we speak. Let's see if Devin Crosby is able to beat him out of the pits. Actually, quite impressively, they pitted right at the same time. They're going to head out too right together, so the Lad Pedal Motorsports guys have had quick pit stops all day. You remember Josh Gallagher before got a position in the pits when he came in, so didn't manage to make the same thing happen there. Did Logan Paxa on Devin Crosby on Logan Paxa, I should say. But Justin Lewick will move all the way up to 2nd position. We're now going to put up the pit strategy graphic because how many laps has he gone on fuel? Actually, only 24. So, wow. I mean, his pit strategy has seemed to work out. Lewick all the way up to 2nd, and I know he's only 11 seconds ahead of Paxa and Crosby and still has to pit, but like, that is still quite the impressive feat there for him. Bedrosian ran 58 laps on fuel, which means I think he pitted a few ago. He might be able to go to the finish. I know Krobach, Paxa, and Crosby can all make it to the finish on fuel now, so the only way that their battle would become for position once again is if they're actually able to catch each other on track. I know if Devin Crosby there with a lap car in between, that's Logan Ferguson, but now he tries to catch up to Logan Paxa, but it's an interesting graphic for sure to kind of give you an idea just how many times certain guys are pitting. And really just how interesting that strategy by Bedrosian is there, because everybody else pitted on lap 22 because we had that first caution there, so everybody came in for tires. But Bedrosian must have just been running on awful tires by the end of his run. 58 laps, my goodness. So came in a few ago. When Lewick pits, he'll take over 4th position, and then Justin Lewick will cycle all the way back to 5th. So, well, impressive race by Bedrosian overall so far, making his debut here, and he is kind of the master of tire conservation, as we can see. So impressive job by him. He should be an interesting factor next season as we head into more Cup races, but been following on board with Devin Crosby, and I think he's actually starting to lose Logan Paxa in front of him. Not sure if he's just playing the long game in terms of tires and trying to wait it out a little bit and let maybe Paxa get away a little bit, start losing focus of tire conservation, and maybe use that to catch up to him and make the pass. I know it's what he did in the All-Star race, so wouldn't be surprised if he's, again, like I said, playing the long game here in the final race of our season, hoping for a, I think it'd be his 3rd podium of the year with Devin Crosby if he were able to finish 3rd tonight. So actually, he'd move up to 2nd after that because Justin Lewick, who does remain in 2nd place at the moment, he is a pit stop down, as you can see on our pit stop strategy graphic down below. So he is kind of the, what's the term? Provisional. He's provisionally in second place, but really once we see the other guys pass him under the pit stint, then that will not become the case. So Devin's actually starting to catch up once again to Logan, but I am going to take a brief break momentarily, but until Luke pits, I probably won't do that. Luke is... Nope, he's going to head around one more time. So I'm just going to take a brief break. I'll be right back in a moment. Who are we going to head on board with this time? Let's run on board with Devin Crosby, starting to catch up to Logan Paxa again. The battle for, as I just used it a moment ago, but the word provisional. Provisional second place once Luke were able to pit. So Logan Ferguson comes into the pits there in the 89 car, but we will throw it on board with Devin Crosby, and I will be back in a moment. And I'm back after that quick brief break there. Once again, when you start running out of water, you definitely have to take little breaks like that. Again, we will hopefully have a co-commentator for some of our races next season. I'll throw it up quickly to Justin Luke trying to defend from Logan Paxa in behind, but judging by just how old Justin Luke's tires are, as we saw in the pit strategy graphic a moment ago, well, I would by no means be surprised if Luke were just able to fly by, or we're able to get almost immediately passed here by Paxa, which is probably how it'll shape out here. Paxa will probably head to the inside and should make the pass clean momentarily. Didn't quite managed to do it yet. Luke's going to head to the inside. Actually going to try to defend here, so Paxa's going to have to check up hard. So does Crosby. This has added a whole new layer to the battle, because now Crosby's going to head to the inside on Paxa. We're going to go 3 wide here. Luke checks up into Paxa. Paxa makes contact, also hits Crosby. What a crazy battle that just happened there. No, Luke's going to head to the inside of Crosby. No doubt is going to have to back off and not try it. No, he's going to try it too on old tires. Didn't quite make it work. Crosby will keep the position, but oh my goodness, what just happened? We're going to head back to a replay on that too, because they went 3 wide. And then Paxa checked up into Luke. So you see Luke slow off. Okay, we're going to have to go back a little bit further. But, okay, we're going to go here. Look at the chopper cam on this. So the 5 is Luke, the 16 is Paxa, the 63 is Crosby. So the Crosby on the inside, already about to go 2 wide. Then they go 3 wide. Luke comes down to block a little bit late, hits Paxa, and then hits Crosby. So kind of a battering ram that lap was Justin Luke, made contact with both. Paxa managed to save it, but starting to catch up to Crosby now as well. So he makes the pass on Luke clean. Luke now heads into the pits, no doubt, because, well, really the only guys he had to defend from are gone. So what better time than that to pit? Paxa on the high side of Crosby, getting ready to try to make a move if he can. Going to see here as they come out of corner 3, or sorry, corner 2, I should say. Only 25 laps to go. We're 1/4 of the way left in the race and 1/40th of the way through left in the season. So going to go side by side here. Paxa's going to throw it on the inside into 3. Should make the pass pretty clean on Crosby. But again, based on how he's treating the tires, is this just a plan for Crosby to run a little bit slower in the short term and start to catch him long term? You got to wonder. I would by no means be surprised if that's his plan. It has been kind of all year for him. Speaking of Devin Crosby, of course, and his strategy, but Well, let's just look at the track map for a moment. Look at that one of Michael Krobach and just how far he's broken away from the other drivers. You see Justin Luke on the bottom there actually just cycling out back on track. So got passed by Jean Guerra there. So Luke will have some catching up to do if he wants to once again become the lucky dog driver. But yeah, look at just how far Michael Krobach's broken ahead of Logan Paxton and Devin Crosby. I mean, really, again, as I talked about, his NASCAR experience is by no means to be understated. He is just an absolute phenom at these racetracks. And again, whenever I've watched him or raced against him in my own time, he does very similar races to this. And this kind of reminds me of a Logan Paxton road course performance in a way, as Michael Krobach is just having an incredible race thus far. A caution would obviously throw this race kind of into chaos and definitely change the dynamic entirely for these battles and make each position much more impactful rather than right now where most cars on track are lapped cars, and if they're not, they're spread out a little bit, with the exception being Logan Paxton and Devin Crosby. But as we saw a moment ago, Logan Paxton definitely the quicker of that battle, so unless he were to make a mistake, I don't think Devin would catch up, at least not for a few laps, until his long-term tire conservation were able to pay off. But yeah, just look on the track map and see how far ahead that one of Michael Krobach as compared to the 2 and 3 of Paxton and Crosby are. About half a track, almost exactly ahead. So a very impressive race for him so far as we head to 20 laps to go. Michael is good on fuel as well, so really, barring a caution or an incident on his behalf, then this race would be all but over for him. John Garrett comes into the pits this time, so Justin Luke and Josh Gallagher will make the pass for position on him. Actually, really impressive day for Jean Guerra overall. He'll head 2 laps down now as he goes by, but he was running in 5th for a good portion of the stint there and ran very well last week at Summit Point as well. So it's been a good last 2 races for Jean Guerra. He's had a great end to the season, and I'm really looking forward to having him back next year to see if his progression is going to continue as it has this season. So definitely a potential there for him to probably become one of our top road course guys, or even as he's been running today, one of our top oval guys as well. So impressive stuff from Jean Guerra. He's going to head into the pits in 7th, but battle for second place doesn't seem to be escalating as far as I can see. About 2 seconds now, and once again we'll throw up the lap time graphic quickly there. Let's just see how that appears to be growing. Okay, so yeah, Crosby has been running slower by about 7 or 8 tenths every lap the last few, the exception being lap 78 where Paxton ran a little bit slower, but actually a really good lap there, a 41.4 for Crosby that time by. I will quickly just throw up while we have the time. Doesn't look like we have many on-track battles at the moment. I will throw up the best lap time for every driver tonight. Don't forget, I mean, we do have the bonus points available for tonight's race, and with double points, I mean, it won't affect our actual championship results, because even with Michael winning, even the double points aren't going to be enough to catch him up nearly as much as he needs to win the championship. But Logan Paxton tonight's actually fastest lap driver. To be fair, some of the time that can be based on drafting rather than just pure race pace, as would be the case at normal road courses where you don't really have the opportunity to draft quite as much, but nonetheless almost running a 40-second time. That's really impressive for Logan Paxton. So whether he weeds most of the race or not, he will still be your fastest lap driver. That's got to be his 8th of the season or something. He has just been an absolutely incredible driver at getting bonus points all year. But again, you see Devin Crosby and Andrew Bedrosian both running 41.3 times earlier in the race, but not coming anywhere close to the 41 flat that those top 2 have run. Jordan West impressively ran a 41.2. Josh Gallagher also running a 41 flat. Justin Luke running a 41.1, and Rich Foligno ran a 41.4 as well. So good laps from all those guys, and I think it's a case of once your tires warm up a little bit and you get in behind somebody in the draft, you can start running crazy times like Paxa did, and well, it paid off for him as he will get the, I think it'd be 2 bonus points, double of the 1, which is, double points aren't quite as impactful when it comes to single bonus points, but nonetheless, very impressive for him. Trying to think of other things to show quickly here on the timing tower. You see the number of pit stops each driver's had tonight. 2 for most of our drivers. Andrew Bedrosian is going to make it a 1-stopper if he continues the strategy he's on right now. He ran a 58-lap stint. We'll just throw it up quickly for you there, but there you go. You see our pit stints. Andrew Bedrosian running that big yellow bar you see sticking out there in 4th position, running a 58-lap segment. Jordan West is going to come into the pits this time by, meaning Rich Foligno will move up to the 8th spot. But yeah, Andrew Bedrosian running a 48-lap stint, or a 58-lap stint that first time through. So very impressive work for him. We'll throw a camera on him because I don't think I've been on board with him all too much today, or at least not in a private camera. So well, congrats to Andrew making his debut today, and he should come home with a 4th position unless he's starts to make mistakes and losing ground. Justin Luke sitting all the way back there in Just coming out of corner 2 right now as he heads across the start-finish line, does Bedrosian, so he should come away with the 4th position there. Very good rookie performance today for him. Yeah, he's running a 58-lap stint as opposed to the 22 everybody else ran, so he'll only run 1 stop today, and that'll be enough for him. Most of the other top drivers have run 2 stops today, that being Michael Krobach, Devin Crosby, and Logan Paxa, as well as Josh Gallagher, all running 2 stops. Justin ran an extra one, but I think it was because of damage from the incident at the beginning of tonight's race. Those of you that were watching at the beginning will remember that, kind of the chaos that happened, including Andrew Bedrosian and Rich Foligno. So he had to pit for damage after that. Jean Guerra and Rich Foligno, same incident as I mentioned a moment ago. And Jordan West and Logan Ferguson running an extra one, probably for damage. I wouldn't think for tires unless they're just a little bit too worried about how dangerous their line might be to not get new tires, which could be the case. And then Manuel Guerra getting 8 stops today. I'm not sure particularly what caused that, whether it be tires or maybe it was just damage, like would be the usual. So we can check that. I'm trying to think what else I could show you there. Yeah, we'll switch it up. I never show this, so there you go. We'll throw up the car numbers for every driver to see who can identify them better on track. If you see any lap cars getting passed or anybody passing a lead lap car. I know we had that a few laps ago when Justin Luke was trying to work his way through the field. So actually, we'll put the camera up a few spots further there as the 19 car of Jean Guerra has a few drivers catching behind him. I don't believe they're for position there. That's Rich Foligno in the number 8 entry there. I'm sorry, the number 80 entry there in 8th position. On the same lap there is, a lap down from Jean Guerra. So even if he were to pass him, it wouldn't be for position. Also in that line is the 6th position car of Josh Gallagher there. It looked like he passed Justin Luke on the timing tower a moment ago, but it was probably just a glitch on iRacing side. And then after that, Andrew Bedrosian about to get put a lap down by Michael Krobach. Maybe we can head back to that for a moment. Again, I'm just going to take a brief drink break. This has been one of the more parching races I've done all season. Well, there we go. We got just another quick water break. Again, sorry for these longer races. My voice starts to get scratchy, and then you got to take quick breaks. But you know, without a co-commentator here, it can be tough. But again, we will have a co-commentator for a few races next season, including our season opener. As far as I understand, it will be commentated by Brian Yazik, another one of the Lad Pedal Motorsports teammates of Devin Crosby, Michael Krobach, and Josh Gallagher. He's run some absolutely incredible times this season at some of the tracks we've been to. I know when he was in our practice session for the Roval earlier this year, he was running times that we really couldn't fathom. So when it comes to iRacing experience and talented drivers, it doesn't get much better than Mr. Brian Yazik. So he will be commentating our first race next season in a few weeks at Talladega Superspeedway. So look forward to that, and I'm looking forward to it, and just being able to have just a little bit of a break in these races and trying to commentate the entire thing. But it gets tough in times like this because really the closest on-track battle is between probably Andrew Bedrosian and Justin Luke in the 4th and 5th spots, and you can just see on track how far apart they are. So I guess after that it would be the 2nd and 3rd cars, Logan Paxa and Devin Crosby, but we can quickly check the lap graphic just to see if any progress is being made on the part of Devin Crosby there. But yeah, he's actually starting to. He got about a 10th, 3 tenths, and then another 10th and a half there that last time by. So starting to make his time back up is Devin Crosby with only 10 laps to go. So if he has a go button there in the inside of his Toyota Camry, he'd better be hitting it right now because he is running out of time if he wants a chance to go for a 2nd place this race, or maybe even a 1st if Michael were to make a mistake, maybe with a lap car or something. I know Michael is starting to catch lap cars ahead of him, so could hypothetically be the case, but we've overall had pretty sportsmanlike lap cars today, so I would be surprised if that were the case. I'm trying to think of maybe different camera angles to show you guys just to get a better idea of what we're looking at, because I know it can get a little bit tedious when we have times like this where with just not a huge field, when guys start to split up and break apart, then it can lead to kind of stints like this as Michael Krobach starting to chase down Rich Foligno there in the 80, that white and orange car, and Josh Gallagher in the 96, that red car way up the road. But overall, as we head into next season with hopefully a grid double this size with 24 drivers, I'd really like to have races where this maybe not would, or maybe wouldn't happen quite as often, where we have so much spread out between the drivers. Manuel Gary going to head into the pits this time by. But yeah, hopefully we can get some races with a little bit less just kind of sitting around watching drivers pace and making subtle changes every lap to their lines. So it's interesting from a driver's perspective. It's interesting on my end to see how people are speeding up, slowing down, changing their lines to adjust to their tire wear as the race goes on. But overall, from a commentary perspective, and I'm sure from a fan's perspective, it can be kind of tough with times like this. So again, I do like to check the chat in times like this with only 8 laps to go. Let's just check there on the chat. I like the car numbers. Thank you. I've been kind of trying to plan out what to put in that spot on the graphic for a while now, because really, whether I put it between like car manufacturers, which is I think what most broadcast teams do, I just think that's kind of pointless. I don't see how knowing the car manufacturer helps anybody. And like tonight, everybody picked Toyota Camrys for some reason, so really it wouldn't be that much that interesting of a graphic at all. So I believe that gives you guys a better idea of, as you see lap cars here, the 72 and the 80, you get a better idea of who that is, that being Michael Krobach and Rich Foligno. Other words in the chat, where's the competition yellow? Yeah, again, tonight we will not be... Oh, speaking of yellow, oh my goodness. Okay, what happened and where? We have a yellow flag. Is that Logan Ferguson that caused that? Yeah, he's got massive damage there on the front nose. So, well, we thought we would not be getting a caution today, and it looks like we will. And it was a single car caution there. That's Logan Ferguson there in the 89 car, the Interstate Batteries car of normally driven by Kyle Busch, but he heads into that outside wall, scrubs the nose, and his trajectory spins him completely around, no doubt, which brought out the caution, and then he managed to save it. So it's like, what's the point? So, wow, this kind of changes the dynamic of the race entirely there. Now this gets exciting right as I talk about the competition yellow. And, well, there obviously wasn't one tonight because of the ovals, but we do not need one, it would appear. So Krobach will head into the front of the line once again, but now Paxa and Crosby will be able to catch up to him. Andrew Bedrosian will get the lucky dog and will get his lap back here to start this final restart. I'm trying to think about how many laps we'll have to start here for this final shootout. Probably like 3. I think we'll start on lap 97, so we'll have 3 or 4 laps to the finish. And what better fitting way to end the season than that as a final few lap shootout to the finish. A battle to see if Michael Krobach could become the second driver of the season to win multiple races, or if Logan Paxa can extend his winning number to 7, which would be absolutely mind-blowing if you ask me. But man, so this just completely shook up the entire dynamic of the race. And the question is pit stops as well. We're going to see Michael Krobach come into the pits. I know anybody looking for track position probably won't, but the question is, will the guys behind him, because you can get the track position on him and just suffer through older tires. But I think at this point, the tires are just so old that if you don't pit, you're kind of hanging yourself out to dry. Logan Paxa won't pit. So Logan Paxa will start the race in front of the field. And everybody else will get a wave around in front of him, meaning I think Justin Lulick will head back onto the lead lap as well. He will. So, oh my goodness, this just got interesting out of nowhere. So what better way to end Season 1 of the Karts to Computers iRacing Series than with a fascinating finish like this? So Krobach and Crosby, the two teammates, will factor out second and third in line here. But, wow, Logan Paxa will become your race leader for the first time all race, and without the new tires to boot, unfortunately for him. So, man, this will be a fascinating 5-car battle for the finish. But the question is, with old tires, how well can Logan Paxa try to defend from the guys behind him? And even more so, I think, with Krobach and Crosby on new tires, and seeing how quick Crosby was on his own in that very last few laps of the race there, will he be able to make a push for the lead here and maybe get his first race of the season and become our 5th different driver to win a race all year? So, man, this makes it exciting, as well as Andrew Bedrosian there and leading the car right behind the pace car there, that 51 car there, and then behind him is Justin Lulick in the 5 car. So once cars get a wave around here, which they should momentarily, then they will take positions on the lead lap at the back of the line, but they'll be able to battle for position there, and Lulick will be able to try to get 4th spot. And then if a caution were to happen and we were to get another incident and Crosby were to head out of the race and Lulick were to pass him, then Lulick would become 3rd in the championship as a whole, and he'd win the prize money. This just got so exciting. Bedrosian's going to head into the pits, so Lulick will take 4th spot and will still get his wave around, meaning he'll be even further up in line. Paxa will pit this time by. So Paxa changes his mind. We'll get new tires here, and actually a little bit less of an opportunity to warm them up. So Michael Krobach and Devin Crosby will take the top 2 spots once again, meaning Paxa will factor out, I think, 3rd, unless Lulick doesn't pit at all, and then he still wouldn't be able to get around the track quick enough to take 3rd. But Well, they will get the wave around this time by. So you see the cars in the distance starting to drive off, but that means, once again, your race leader will be Michael Krobach. I would quickly go to him for this final restart for an interview, but I think we're going green this time by, so, well, I won't distract him here and ruin his mental planning for this final restart there. So Michael Krobach, Devin Crosby, Logan Paxa, Justin Luke, and Josh Gallagher will be your 5 drivers in the lead lap for this final restart of the 2020 Karts to Computer Racing Series season. Provided, of course, we didn't need to use a green-white checkered and we don't get another caution, in which case we would need to do one or two more laps, or I guess 2 more sets of that if we were to have multiple. But guys behind him got to catch up there. I know Logan Paxa coming out of the pits, so he doesn't have much time to warm up his tires there. That 16 blue and orange car. So he's got a few lap cars to go through if he wants any hope of winning this race. But I don't know if that's just John Garrett checking up. Yep, it looks like it is. I was like, oh, is he getting a wave around? And that's a little bit fast to be taking it to the inside. But John Garrett and Rich Foligno will be getting ready to go green here. The whole field will be, so hopefully everybody catches up here. Logan Paxa gets back on the line. A few stragglers trying to catch up to the line here, but it'll be 4 laps to go to finish off this season. Michael Krobach will be ready to watch that pace car take the hard left into pit road. It'll go this time by. Final green flag of the season. You got to wonder. Here we go. 3rd of the race. He's on the loud pedal. Great start for Michael Krobach. Takes off. Green flag. Chaos behind. Michael Krobach takes off. Now 4 corners down and only 12 more to go for Michael Krobach, and he will get his 2nd race win of the season. But Devin Crosby, what a start for Michael Krobach in front of him, so he just wasn't quite able to catch up. And then I think Andrew Bedrosian made the pass on him almost immediately there. You saw in the background of Krobach's feed. But after that, it's Logan Paxa battling with Justin Lewick. That's for position here, so what a comeback for Lewick. Paxa on new tires, so I'd be surprised if Lewick were able to make the pass on him stick. Looks like he won't, so Paxa will head by. Now he's going to head to the inside of Jordan West here. Paxa fighting through the field, but I think it might be a little bit too late, just too far back on track to be able to make the pass happen here. But Gallagher behind him, also on the lead lap, but again, just a little bit too far back after the caution to factor in, I think. So Michael and Krobach and Devin Crosby will factor into this battle for the lead, or maybe not even that, as we come to 2 to go. Krobach will pass for the penultimate lap of the season as Crosby in the background, now 2 seconds back. I don't think he'll be able to catch him, and I don't think Paxa will be able to catch Crosby quite quick enough here. Let's no more updates on my end, but yeah, 6 more corners to go for Krobach to finish off our last race of the season. Only won the All-Star race. He won at Phoenix. He's been an absolute oval phenom this entire season, and I would be no doubt surprised as we head to a more NASCAR-focused 2nd season of the series if he were able to continue this trend. But Michael Krobach will come across for the final time this season. 1 more to go. White flag here. Final lap of Season 1 of the Karts to Computers iRacing Series season. Mike, it'll just be him in this battle right now, as behind him Devin Crosby with Logan Paxa in the background there. Paxa's catching Crosby, but I don't think it'll quite be quick enough. Logan Ferguson crashed in the background, but I think it's too late. There won't be a caution up ahead. Ferguson just has to avoid Krobach, and hopefully isn't parked in the middle of the track. Nope, he'll get off into the inside lane, so no doubt Michael will avoid him to avoid hitting him, and with that pass made, he will exit out of corner 4. He will win your final race of the season momentarily, and he will become your 2nd driver of the season to win 2 races in the year. Checkered flag, Michael Krobach wins the final race of the season, his 2nd of the year. Devin Crosby, Logan Paxa, Justin Lewick, Josh Gallagher will round out your top 5. But what a race for him. It made it tough on him at the very end, having that caution, but well, he did what he needed to do, got a perfect start there. He took off, and Michael Krobach will be your winner this season. A little bit confused at the end because my timing screen actually showed a caution there happening when Logan Ferguson crashed, but wasn't the case. So Michael Krobach, congratulations to him. That will finish off tonight's race, and it'll finish off the entire season. Let's throw it down there to Michael Krobach. We'll give him the entire screen there and watch his, for the 2nd time this season, we'll watch his victory celebration, or I guess his 3rd win this season, but 2nd official there. So the Oval Master, wins I think 3 over 4 this entire year. He's going to do his victory lap there in that 72 HPP Simulations car there. That Toyota Camry served him well tonight. Looked absolutely amazing, and really every lap he ran, he was kind of the class of the field. I know Logan had that exact same situation a few times this year, but tonight it looked like the Michael Krobach show, and really with only a few laps to go to try to defend the win, he did what he needed to. Logan Paxar also on track. I'm kind of wondering if they're doing dual donuts, the 2 race winners. They are indeed. So the race winner and the championship winner of Logan Paxa. A nice little display here between those 2 gentlemen. Oh, not quite big enough of a camera. There we go. So the 16 there on the left-hand side, that's Logan Paxa. And on the right-hand side, it's Michael Krobach. So well, a pretty fitting way to end this season. It's been great to have both of them. They have been, I would say, absolutely our 2 most successful drivers this year as they do the dual donuts. Very different style of donuts. It's actually interesting to watch the pattern they've made because Michael a little bit more a proponent of those longer, more held out drifts, but that is not the point. The 2 will park next to each other for the final time this year. Devin Crosby, rounding out the top 3, will also do his donuts as well. We got a donut party going on the backstretch, but Michael's going to head off and finish his victory lap there and do his individual donuts as the race winner. But really nice to see there. You saw Logan Paxa and Devin Crosby also getting in on the antics. So Logan will head off. Those were his victory celebration donuts, and no doubt we will get an interview with Logan Paxton nonetheless. He may not have won tonight's race, but well, when it came to domination this season, it kind of started and ended with Logan Paxa. So as your championship winner this season, he clinched it before tonight, but we'll still have an interview with him as well. Probably after all the top 3 interviews like usual, but well, Michael Krobach will pull up to the finish line here. There we go. He's going to park. Probably, if this were a real race, he'd grab the checkered flag and do celebrations for winning the final race of the year. I know for the real NASCAR season, this would be at Homestead Miami Speedway, but we ended our season at Michigan International. I mean, Michael chose it for the All-Star race. He came out here and won, and again, becomes only the 2nd driver this season to win multiple races in the official season. The other obviously being Logan Paxa with 6, but well, congratulations to Michael Krobach. Going to head into the victory lane there. He's actually going to use it. I was wondering if we'd see anybody head in there, but he will pull in around the grass shrub there, head into victory lane, and again, tonight's race winner, Mr. Michael Krobach in the 72 car. Let's just throw his name up there one last time for posterity. Oh, and he disappeared. So almost had time there, but wow. I mean, what a finish to the race. That got pretty exciting there at the end. I was worried we'd just have a traditional green flag finish to the end there, but no, we had that final caution, which kind of shook everything up there, and well, that will end the first season of the Karts to Computers iRacing series, at least the hunt track portion that is. Just looking in the back there, just to see if we have any final changes to the finishing position. Nope, no penalties or anything. So we will throw up your final race results for tonight. Round 10, final of the season at Michigan International Speedway. Didn't matter for the championship winner, who will remain Logan Paxa, but Michael Krobach did everything he would have needed to win the championship if he were still viable to in tonight's race. So Michael will finish the season off in the best way he possibly could, gets the win tonight with a 3-second margin over Devin Crosby in second. After that, Logan Paxa rounding out your top 3. Devin Crosby, again, I should mention, I think this is his 3rd podium of the year, but I think this is his 2nd or 3rd time finishing second in one of these races. So master of consistency, just hasn't quite been able to pull off the win I'm sure he would have liked. But what a race for him tonight. He made the comeback from that earlier incident that put him all the way down in 9th. Remember, he hit the outside wall there coming out of 2 and managed to recover and make something out of it. So props to him. What a night for Mr. Devin Crosby. After that, Justin Lewick and Josh Gallagher rounded at the top 5. Those 5 drivers, your only guys on the lead lap. Andrew Bedrosian making his debut tonight. Actually an American. I think he's from Boston, I think, based on his iRacing entry. But your only American in tonight's field comes across in 6th, the only driver 1 lap down. After that, Jean Guerre, I think, getting his best finish of the season, finishing all the way up there in 7th with Jordan West right behind him. Rich Foligno and Logan Ferguson will round out your top 10. Then Manuel Guerra and Kip Stevens, 2 guys that didn't quite finish the end of the race, but Kip was running good laps there at the beginning. The United Kingdom driver there, making his debut as well, similar to Andrew Bedrosian. We will see, hopefully, both of them for Season 2 of the series. As well as Manuel Guerra, who only joined us for the last few races of our season, but overall, he had an incredible mark on the series, and overall, it's been a pleasure to have him. So that'll round out your 12-driver field for tonight. Michael Krobach is your race winner. Once again, I'm on the graphic, but I was not in the race. And with all of that being said, we will get ready for your final interviews. Let me just, let me just pull the graphics down here. There we go. And this will be kind of a multi-purpose interview because as we head to Logan Pax's tonight's third place driver in tonight's race, but he is also your Karts to Computers Iverson Series Season 1 champion. He clinched it before tonight, but showed up, came away with a podium, kept the podium streak alive, and went 9 for 10 in top threes this season. So, well, we head into the booth with Logan Paxa. There we go, ready for our interview. So, well, I mean, first of all, Logan, what an absolutely incredible season you had all year. And I'd say it wasn't a win, but you capped it off, I think, the best way you could ask for. So, overall, I mean, just do you just want to comment on us for how you ended off the season, how you felt overall, and just, I mean, you're the champion. Do you have anything you want to say?
This race as just for fun. It's something to do, something really fun to do. So I think I finished this season on a high note. Podium is always great. I had a couple of good fights with Devin throughout the race. It was honestly really fun. I'm not a huge fan of NASCAR, but this oval really I'm not sure what it was about it, but I liked it a lot, and it just overall improved the enjoyment of the race.
Yeah, I got to be honest. In my own time, I've never been much of been a NASCAR racer myself. Like it's just not a lot of the tracks. A lot of the shorter tracks just don't kind of speak to me. But Michigan is one of those ones that, whether it be for this or IndyCar, where I've run it a lot more, it's so much fun, and kind of the low banking makes it really interesting, and it's an exciting race for sure. So I'm glad Michael picked it. We got to end our season off on it, but kind of looking back on the season as a whole, I mean, you came away with you finished with 6 race wins, which out of the 10 races is more than half. Absolutely incredible in terms of that. But overall, as you look back, I mean, you were winning a lot of road courses there. The ovals, I think Michael and Josh there, and as well as Devin, were kind of particularly apt and particularly able to run quick. But overall, like, what do you think it was? If you had to speak on as we finish the season, if you had to speak on what you think it was that just gave you such an upper hand in the entire championship, what do you think it was?
So, what gave me the advantage on the road courses is my experience in karting, specifically Briggs and Stratton. So, when I started karting, I was really tentative driver. I didn't have much confidence in myself, but I did have decent pace. So we eventually stepped it up. We bought our own cart. Started racing. Club Briggs and Stratton and stuff. And then eventually we started doing the Ron Fellows series, which is a Ontario regional series. And the racing in that series teaches you so much about so many different types of racing that I think that if you would have raced the person that, like the driver that I was before I started doing Ron Fellows, you would easily be able to beat him. But if you were to race the person that I am now, uh, I it would be a lot harder to do. Really, it Ron Fellows made me evolve in so many ways.
Well, that's really interesting to hear, and I think a lot of the things that some guys underrate about transitioning over to iRacing is just kind of how many of the karting skills that you learned from really outside racing can apply over to this. And I mean, you talk about as you just get more and more racing experience. I know you're fairly young in the karting scene, but I know you've had so much success in your own life personally for real life karting, and the fact that things like throttle control, and I'm sure really just tempering the brakes and overall like hand-eye coordination, like stuff you learn in the real life karting world can transition over well. And to see you on the road courses this year, just no matter where we were, no matter what the track condition was like, but you managed to master it. And I think it's just kind of a sixth sense a lot of guys have coming from their background. So it's really interesting to hear that kind of what you've done in your background through real life karting has transitioned over well to the computer side. So the season, Karts to Computers Iverson Series, and you are a season 1 champion. But we can talk a little bit about season 2 in a moment, but as you transition from carts to computers back to carts, I know you just headed out to the real track a few weeks ago, or maybe a week or two ago. But overall, could you just kind of want to walk us through, like, in a perfect world, what's kind of the future of your racing career going forward? What are you most looking forward to getting back on the real track? Just kind of the real life world for Logan Paxa. What is it looking like going forward?
Well, right now I'm going to continue to do club races at Hamilton. I know that it's going to be a more compressed schedule because, the season was supposed to start, I think, a long while ago, I think a couple months ago. And so I think that I'm pretty much going to be racing almost every weekend, which I'm like totally excited to do. However, I talked about the Ron Fellows series, and with what's going on right now, there's usually like around, I'd say, 200 to 250 people that show up for these races. So it depends on how many people, the government allows in public gatherings and stuff like that. I would love for Ron Fellows to start again. I love that series. I love racing there. And I feel like I have a shot to do well this year. But what I want is probably not what will happen. I know that, nationals and American Grand Nationals that I hope to go to, they probably won't happen just because of how many people show up. They're really, really big races. But yeah, I'm just excited to kart again. Really, that satisfies me. In like, yeah, I don't know how to explain it. It's just I would rather kart than do anything probably. So I have that back, and that's great.
And I'm so glad to hear that. And I think that that's kind of the perfect cap to this season. As we go forward, even as the karting season starts up again, I'm hoping that we're going to get a few more guys with an iRacing background into the series, and it'll become kind of more of a mishmash of really guys from all backgrounds. But just to see that this season ends right as we're starting to see guys like you, and I know Justin was heading back out to the real track a few days ago. So it's good to see everybody transitioning back, and like with the talent you've showed in this series, I think if any man, if any karting teams or really any sort of motorsports teams are out there watching, I mean, your talents, I'm sure, they already have in karting, I'm sure, but I'm sure they're also going to transition well over to any racing series in the future. So, well, we're going to transition into, we do it every week, but any shout outs or anything like that you want to give before we head off?
Um, I want to thank my family, Prime Power team, like the karting team that I race for. Everybody watching today, and I really want to thank the drivers. They are honestly the people that make this so exciting, so much fun. And I also want to again thank you for allowing all these drivers to come together and make something that's so much fun and allows us to be happy in what's going on right now. You know, it just means a lot that you stepped out of your way and you did this just so that people could have fun.
Well, thanks, man. And I mean, to say that it's a one-way thing, to say that you guys are the only ones having fun would be an absolute lie, because I've just had a blast all year covering this. And man, you've given me something to talk about every single race, and with your fascinating qualifying times or your practice times in any races that I run on my own time, and just trying to beat them. We've had some fun practice races together as well, like last week. So it's been a pleasure to have you on the series. Looking forward to having you next year, and overall, I can't think of a much more fitting champion, like a guy that comes out to every practice who just seems to adapt well to every single track we run. Again, you finished in the top five every single race, didn't run worse than fourth all season. So congrats again, Logan. Congrats on being the champion. I have a little, I have a little graphic to show later, but for your championship winning. But overall, absolutely thank you again for coming out. Looking forward to seeing if you can defend your title next year. And overall, best of luck in the future for karting and whatever racing series you end up in. Because with the potential you showed me this season, I have no doubt that you'll be doing bigger and better things going forward. So thanks again, Logan. Thanks for the interview, and have a good rest of your night.
You too, Marshall.
And with that, we finish off our first interview of the night. Not only was it your third place interview, but it was your champion interview. And as I mentioned, I have a quick graphic to show in a bit for championship winner Logan Paxa. But now we head on to your second place interview with Devin Crosby. Once I throw up the graphic. There we go. Okay, let me just bring him in the booth here momentarily. Nope. Hey, Devin, it's Marshall. You got me?
Hey, Marshall, how are you?
I am not bad, but I'd imagine that is also a sentiment that you could say as well, because after a miraculous comeback really from earlier in the race, came all the way up from ninth all the way to second. Just an impressive performance overall today. And, well, our first time running at really any track as large as Michigan, with the style of racetrack that it is. I mean, Michigan International has one of the lower bankings of any speedway of its size. It's a very difficult track, so the fact that you were able to have such success is made even more impressive by that. But do you just kind of want to run us through Michigan and how it interacts with the NASCAR car? I know you're one of the better oval specialists in the series, so figured I'd ask you.
Uh, it could be a pretty tricky one, especially with the setup we had. There was a lot of understeer, and you chew up your front tires pretty bad. So that was, I think, one of the main points that really kept me in it was conserving the tires. and sort of just taking it easy on them. And especially through that second longer stint, I was able to sort of on my way back up. I was catching up to Logan there in the last few laps before we pitted. So it's mainly just trying to keep those tires alive, not trying to push on them too hard and destroy them. That seemed to be, I guess, the biggest point today.
Right, and then in terms of race strategy, I mean, speaking about just how difficult the tires were to conserve, what was the plan for pit strategy there? I know a lot of guys had very different plans going in. I know Andrew Bedrosian managed to run, I think, like a 58 lap stint to start the race, so everybody kind of had different plans there. But what was your plan, knowing just how difficult the tires would be, and your plan to make your comeback back up through the field?
I think we had originally planned to sort of pit on 35 and 70, so two 35 lap stints. But with that first caution that came out, decided to pit under there. Anytime there seems to be a caution, it's always, unless you've only been out for a lap, seems it's the best to get in there for tires at least. And then since that first caution came out pretty early, it was then we wanted to then try and make it one more stop. So we tried to eke that second stint out to was it lap 65 or 66? We wanted to do like a 40 lap stint, and then that would leave about 30 laps to go on the last stint, which is near, if you're pushing pretty hard, it's where the tires really start to fall off depending on track conditions. You start to get into trouble around lap 40, 45, depending on how hard you're pushing.
Right, and you and Michael seemed like the class of the field when it came to tire conservation there. And I think both of you, coming from the background where you have a lot of oval experience, I'm sure that just helps your understanding of what to do in terms of tire wear for long stints of time. And I know you, after the All-Star race, you were great about helping me, and you seem like the authority to go to for stuff like that. Whereas I know a lot of guys running tonight's race probably didn't have the same attitude, and we're probably thinking more short term there. But well, we finished up tonight's race. I think you officially finished the season in third position. So congratulations for taking a podium spot in the championship. Actually, all three of our drivers who finished on the podium tonight are your podium drivers for the season as a whole. So overall, I mean, if you had to recap the season, we've been to a lot of different places, running a lot of different series. But if you just had to kind of recap your entire season as a whole and places you've enjoyed, places you've had most trouble, and what you're looking most forward to for season two.
I think, the biggest highlight was probably Spa. There was a great, obviously, you've talked about it before, the battle in the first few laps. So it was through second through sixth, I think there was 5 of us. That was a great, tight battle. Definitely tricky, and it's a great track. I think I like the Skip Barber. That's probably one of my favorite cars on the iRacing service, and I think that was a lot of fun to get in there. It's been a bit of a learning curve. Some of the tracks I don't know. Getting used to the MX-5 car again. It's had its ups and downs. It's definitely hasn't been the easiest season to come and get that third position, but it was a lot of fun. And I'd like to thank you and all the other drivers for coming out and making this possible.
Awesome. Well, yeah, no problem at all. It's been a pleasure to have everybody out here. And as a guy who, I mean, I think you attended pretty much all the races there. You were always out there for our practices, so it was really good to see you putting in the effort, and it paid off for you, which is good to see for me. So, well, at the end of the interviews, as we always do you have any shout outs you want to give to anybody or any thank yous as you finish your final interview of season one?
Thank you to all you and all the drivers who came out, and the LPM drivers who have helped me along the way with this and helped each other. It's been great fun season of running. So thank you all, and have a
Awesome. Well, thank you, Devin. Thank you for the interview. You've had an amazing season, and it's been a pleasure to watch you. I mean, again, that battle with you just talked about Spa, but that battle at the end with you and Brian was, I think, my probably favorite highlight of the season at all. So, man, it's been a pleasure to have you. You've had a great year, and looking forward to seeing you out for season two. Hopefully, you're able to make it for as many races as possible. And well, it's been a pleasure to have you, Devin. So, thank you for running with us tonight. Thank you for running all season, and have a good rest of your night. Congrats on third in the championship.
thank you again.
And with that, we finish up our second interview of the night. And again, Devin Crosby was He was a guy that I think for a lot of our races on the road courses, it's not like he struggled by any means, but he just wasn't always one of our top contenders there. But well, when it came to the ovals, he was an absolute force to be reckoned with. And really, if there's one guy I'm surprised it didn't come away with a win this season, it was him. Because man, he was so close so many times, and he's a driver I'd really look out for next season. Because when we head to some ovals like this one, he could be an absolute factor into the race win for sure. But well, when it comes to factors at ovals, I don't think it gets much bigger of one than Mr. Michael Krobach. So we're going to head off to our race winner interview with tonight's race winner. Hey, Michael, it's Marshall in the booth. You got me?
Yes, Marshall, how are you?
I am doing very well, but I'd imagine that is a sentiment that you could also share, because once again, you get your second official race win of the season, third overall, your third win in an oval. You just seem to be the go-to guy, the force to be reckoned with when it comes to these ovals of really any size. You wanted a mile and a half at Charlotte, you wanted a 2 mile here, and then I think one at Phoenix, which is a single mile. So there you go. You got the variety out of the way there, but overall, I mean, you won the All-Star race, allowing you to pick the final race of the season, that being, of course, tonight, Xfinity at Michigan, and it was a fun race to watch. It was definitely a different oval race than we've seen all year. So overall, like, what was your approach to tonight, knowing in advance that we'd be running here? What was your practice like? What were you most worried about going in based on the car and the track combination?
Yeah, I think tire wear was probably my main concern. I knew that the tires wouldn't really last as long as a fuel run in the simulation runs that I've done before, and practice under different weather. But I think the track temperature allowed us to conserve the tire a little bit better than we might have otherwise. I thought for sure during one of the green flag stints I was going to be right down on the cords, but we still had about 38% tire left. So I was really surprised about that it didn't quite wear out as bad. And that kind of allowed us to work the strategy a little bit, because we had a caution come out around lap 20, our first caution of the night, only two, which is great. Nice clean race, awesome by all the guys here tonight. And that caution there put us right at the edge of the fuel window and the tire window. We could make it on one stop on fuel. Tires were questionable. But we were able to run that second stint long and pit just under 40 to go. Which was a little bit more than halfway past on the stint, and the tires worked to the end. And I did not want to see that caution with 6 to go. I thought this was going to be a repeat of the Coke 600, and I was going to be in a Chase Elliott, Alan Gustafson situation. And I was just dreading that. When I saw Logan stay out, I was like, oh man, he's going to stay out. And we have lap cars in between us. Fortunately, he decided to pit, and that kind of sealed the deal, and we were okay. But if he stayed out and with the lap cars in between, I don't know, he might have gotten it. But I'm just glad it worked out the way it did.
Yeah, I was even going to ask about the finish there, but overall, I was going to say, I even said on the broadcast, like, that's the last thing you want to see, just judging by how far ahead you were. I think you were like 22 seconds ahead of Logan at the time, and then it bunched the field up. So again, yeah, you did the perfect analogy. It was going to be a Coke 600 finish until then, but overall, a pretty smooth sailing race today. I mean, as you mentioned, everybody stayed really clean, no cautions to bunch the field up. So when you got in your own, you just seem to have this pace and this groove that nobody else could find. And well, it was an absolutely dominant race for you. And really, an overall, an amazing season. Like, you're going to catch up in points to Logan, a pretty sizable amount with the double points today. But overall, you'll finish in second in our championship. And what a year it's been. I mean, I asked the other two, but do you just kind of want to recap the season as a whole? What was it that you feel like you had strengths with? What was it that you felt like you had to adjust most to? And overall, what are you most looking forward to for next season?
Yeah, I think this mix of tracks and car combinations just overall made me a better driver. I usually run a lot of NASCAR stuff, a little bit of open wheel stuff, never really the road racing at all. And so just kind of having to practice and adapt to different cars, adapt to different track conditions, I think just made me a more well-rounded driver over the year, trying to push myself to get as fast as Logan. I'm still not there yet. He's going to kick my butt again next season, I'm sure. But just overall, it just kind of pushed me to find, tents here and there. And we had a race in my other league this Wednesday at Mid-Ohio in the Xfinity car. And I didn't, fancy myself a road racer as much, and we had a solid top 5 night, and I definitely credit that to, trying to catch some of the guys in this series, and putting the practice in over here, kind of translated over there. So I love the mix of cars, love the mix of tracks, and just love the series. It's just a great group of guys, a lot of respect. There was, running this race tonight, almost caution free, was awesome. People were given plenty of room, lots of clean racing, lots of clean passes, and overall it was just great. I'm glad we had such a awesome run to cap off the season. And one last thing, we came so close to running the perfect race. We won practice, got the pole, won the race, led 99 out of the 100 laps because Logan stayed out under the pit stops there under the last caution. So darn it, and we also got fastest lap. So that's as close as I'm going to get to a perfect race. If I'm beating up myself for not leading every lap, then it's a good night. I got to give a shout out to Devin Crosby, who came home P2, awesome teammate, has helped call strategy all year. And I think that steals third place in the points and a little bit of cash for him. So really happy for Devin. I can't thank Logan enough for racing me hard and clean all year. He's a class act of a driver. I wish him nothing but the best in his karting this year. I know he's back at Cameron Speedway Mini Indy, and I think he's going to have an awesome year if he just executes like he did all season. He was flawless here, and I'm sure that'll translate over to the karts. I got to give a shout out to Josh Gallagher as well. He had a good run there. Unfortunately, got a speeding penalty that kind of took away a top 3, top 5 finish there. Shout out to Rich Foligno too. He's come on to Loud Pedal Motorsports, and he's a great teammate to have on board, and looking forward to working with him next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Rich had a great end to the season, so he's a guy that I think will definitely factor into season 2 if he's able to keep the potential and the momentum he's been showing these last few races going. But actually, you mentioned the Logan thing. I didn't even think about that, but he was probably just staying out that extra lap for the bonus points. So I didn't that didn't click until right now. But well, I mean, pretty much you covered it well, Michael. I'm looking forward to having you next season. I know the races are going to be mostly similar to this year in terms of where we go. I think we're going to go back to quite a few of the tracks we were in this year. Daytona Road Course, Charlotte Oval, Spa is coming back, Laguna Seca is coming back, all those tracks like that. But we're going to have a lot more emphasis on the NASCAR cars next year. I think we have 6 Cup races scheduled for the regular season. So I'm sure with those being factored in, you could absolutely become a force for the championship next year. And I know even though we're bringing in some top iRacing talent to the series, I think you could absolutely still be one of the top guys for a title. You could kind of be the I know in NASCAR, Marco Sambros is the road course guy, but you're kind of the oval guy of our series. So I'm looking forward next year to seeing if you have that same success. But to kind of finish out our final interview of the season, I know you got sponsors out there, and anybody want to give a quick shout out to before you head off?
Yeah, absolutely. I got to thank HPP Simulation for sticking with me since 2015, 2016. Clipping That Apex, your home for custom motorsports art. If you want a cool T-shirt or a piece of art to hang on that bare wall in your office, go to Clipping That Apex. Got to thank Thumbs Up, Cancer Down, Ready to Frag, Host Venom, Fleximation Systems, Sim Racing Apps, CJ Automotive, Amsoil by Adam Blattel, Mini Indy for running. This is where we all met each other, and this is where the series came about. So I got to thank the Mini Indy and Spotlight's virtual spotter system. They're great to have. We were in clean air tonight, so we didn't really need them, but they're awesome to have when you're around other cars and working your way through the field. So looking forward to having all our sponsors back for next year and seeing what we can do in season 2.
Awesome. And speaking of season 2, I mean, coming up in a few weeks, haven't quite officially decided on a date. We may have to postpone it maybe a week or two, but we know it's coming up soon. So it'll be an absolute pleasure to have you, Michael. It's been great to have you all year. You've kind of been the really the race director when I'm unable to make decisions during the race. So you've kind of been the quarterback of helping out with race decisions. We had the really confusing Daytona Road Course finish a few weeks ago, and you kind of helped orchestrate getting everything back on track for that. So it's been a pleasure to have you. You've had a great year, and very deservedly so. And I know even in our past, we've had some fun on track battles together at Mini Indy and on the real track. So you're a class guy, or you're one of the top guys in our series, and I'm looking forward to seeing how you do next year. So thanks again, Michael, for coming out. Thanks for finishing off the season with us, and overall, looking forward to season 2 with you.
Thanks so much, Marshall. And for all the guys that won a bit of prize money, that should be paid out by Monday.
Sounds good. Well, thank you again, Michael. Have a good rest of your night.
Thanks, Marshall. Thanks for putting on the series. It's been a blast.
And with that, we finish up the final interview of the night. And well, overall, I mean, it's wow, what a season we've had. We finished it off at the wonderful Michigan International Speedway, one of my favorite ovals in the entire world. I mean, I've done it a few times, but overall, I mean, thank you everybody again for watching the series this season. I know we've had some technical difficulties at times. There have been some tough patches of the season. I know at the very beginning, my technical understanding of how to run a broadcast was much more limited than it is now. So the experience has been absolutely great. For those that don't know, me in my personal life, I'm looking forward to going and do I'm looking to go into a career of something very similar to this, hopefully sports broadcasting, or even more ideally race broadcasting like this. So the dream would be to run an actual NASCAR IndyCar broadcast in the future. This is what I'm looking to do, and this is great practice, and it's great experience. And overall, just thank you everybody for coming out and watching this, whether it be a family member, maybe a friend. And I know we've had some people that just come in here off of YouTube and happen to click in and watch some of our races. And if you're somebody who doesn't personally know anybody in the series but still comes out to watch the races, I mean, thank you too. It's just a pleasure. It's been so good to see the view numbers and see how many people are engaging with these videos, and it's been a pleasure to have any of you. So whether it be those of you that are in the chat every race and putting in nice messages and keeping the whole thing going and giving me something to talk about when maybe the races get a little bit not bland, but maybe a little bit uneventful. It's just a pleasure to have all of you. So again, we will take a few weeks break. I think maybe probably two. Probably just a 2 week break until 2 Fridays from now, and then we'll restart the season. Hypothetically, June 12th, if I'm able to get everybody signed up and registered before then for the next season. So, again, I'm just going to give some quick information about that. We're going to head into our teams format for that. I'm really looking forward to that. Is having, I think, 10 teams of two, ideally, if we were able to get enough drivers for it. And then everybody would have a buddy out there. The cars will be color coded. The numbers will be maybe like 1 and 2 for one team, 3 and 4 for another, 5 and 6. So it'll all be a little bit more official of a team format than just the Lad Pedal guys who all come from the same background but aren't officially on a team in our series. So it'll just be fun. It'll be a fun change to have going forward. And actually, I have the season 2 schedule all prepared. So we haven't quite yet decided when the season will start, obviously, or quite what we think it'll be on Friday and Sunday nights going forward instead of Thursday and Saturday thus far. But more details about the schedule will come out. We do have actually a Facebook page online for the Karts to Computers Racing Series. I've been a little bit busy lately, so I haven't had a chance to update it. But for those of you that don't hear about the series through a family member, feel free to go and check that on Facebook. It's just Karts to Computers Racing Series, and I will post any updates for Season 2 on there. So if you're looking for it, feel free to go on there. The page is already up. It just hasn't been updated in a little bit. But, well, let's look at the schedule for our second season. So starting on June 12th, provisionally, we'll be at Talladega Superspeedway in the Cup Series for round 1 of our season. Then we head to Watkins Glen in the Indy Cars. We did the IndyCar race at Daytona Road Course. It's our first time running the IndyCar at a road course, so that's a discipline we're going to be running a lot more this season because it was a lot of fun. It's so much fun to drive, and it's very difficult but very fast. So that's one of the I'm personally definitely looking forward to. Actually, I'm just going to pull my I'm just going to pull my official schedule up here just so I can confidently say where we'll be for Season 2, just to make sure I don't mess anything up. Okay, so Season 3, Charlotte in the IndyCar. So I know we ran Charlotte in the Xfinity car for the All-Star race, but we're running the real Cup Series, so the actual like current car for next season, but we're doing that in the IndyCar. So IndyCar I don't think they often run at Charlotte, but something a little different, something we're looking to try, so we're looking forward to that. And then the most highly requested track of the entire series, all of our guys were asking for it. We're going to Mosport. We're going to Canadian Tire Motorsports Park for the 4th race of the season in the Skip Barber Series, a track very near and dear to our hearts because it's very, very close to us. You could probably drive there tomorrow if you wanted to, but yeah, so Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, near and dear to everybody here, and it's a lot of fun. So that'll be round 4 of the season in the Skip Barber car. After that, we go to the Nürburgring, one that I'm really looking forward to. For those of you that maybe aren't like racetrack oriented in terms of their knowledge base, and you don't know what the Nürburgring looks like, I know the picture of the Nürburgring there with the park or the circuit there is the GP circuit. We're running the Nordschleife circuit, and for those of you that don't know what the Nordschleife circuit is, the Nordschleife circuit takes about 8.5 to 9 minutes per lap. It is huge. It's like I think it's like 12 miles or something. Like it's a massive track. It's going to be such a fun race. It's like an adventure of a track in a racing format. Only 10 laps, so doing that in the Skip Barber, I can't wait for that race. After that, we head back to Michigan International Speedway. I believe we're doing that in the NASCAR Cup car. Yes, we are. So we head to the NASCAR car, and then the next 3 races are all going to be IndyCar races. So we go to Spa-Francorchamps. I think probably my favorite race we've run all season was at Spa, so we're bringing it back in the IndyCars this time around. So hopefully a little bit faster for some of those long straightaways. It should be a little bit more tricky, but a little bit more fun to watch. Then we head to our kind of real-life Indy doubleheader. We do the IndyCar Road Course as an official race for the season, and then our All-Star race this year will be at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the actual oval. So once again, just like our All-Star race this year, that will probably be a live stream unless I get somebody else to broadcast it, and I'm able to successfully get a one-time off broadcast for that one. But regardless, I'll be running in that. So I'll be doing the All-Star race there with those guys, and then we finish off that 10-race first half of the season. It's a 16-race season in total, 15 plus the All-Star race. We finished the first half off with Charlotte Oval in the Skip Barber. So Yeah, that was another one of our favorites from this season. I know a lot of you enjoyed that, and it makes me happy to hear that. So that'll be round 10 of the season. We go back to Roval, and then race 11, we're going to Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, a track very near and dear to my heart. It's one that I've been to in real life. It's one of the best facilities I've ever been to. They make great, great hot dogs and lemonade. So if you ever get a chance to go to Ohio in the States, I mean, I wouldn't right now, and obviously you can't, but if you ever get a chance to, it's a great venue in real life, and it's a very fun track. So we head there in the IndyCar for round 11 of the season. Then round 12, we're heading to the Daytona Road Course. We're doing a return to our race from this season in the IndyCar. So it was a fun race when we did it the first time, but now we're heading back next year. Then in round 13 of the season, we're heading to Pocono in the Cup Series. Pocono, a track I hate running so much. It's so difficult. They call it the Tricky Triangle for a reason. You can see by the shape, it's one of the most bizarre looking ovals you'll ever go to. So we are going to head there in the Cup Series for round 13. Then we head to Laguna Seca, a track that I think a lot of people really enjoyed this year. It was a tough race for sure, quite a few incidents, but we did that in the MX5 series. We've completely gotten rid of the MX5 car for season 2. The races just weren't that fun or exciting compared to the Skip Barber car, and I know most guys don't really like running them, so we're going to do that in the IndyCar instead of the Skip Barber at Laguna Seca next year. And then we round out the official series that I can officially state right now with round 14 of the official season, 15 overall, at Daytona in the Cup Series. So that'll be kind of our Daytona 500 to finish the to penultimately finish the year rather than begin it like the NASCAR season does. And then, just the same as this year, the final round will once again be determined by the All-Star Race winner, that being both the car and the track combination, just like Michael did with today and the Xfinity car. So that is your official schedule for Season 2. We're going to round out Season 1 with this quick graphic I made for Logan Paxton, your championship winner. The kind of the gold there. I did my very best, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, the stats there are all correct. So I quickly updated it in the background there, but I just want to make sure it was good. So, Logan Paxa, your season 1 champion. Congratulations to him. He just had a class season overall. He came out to so many practices. He put in so much work. I know he's such a talented guy in real life in the karting series. I think we raced at the same track in real life, but unfortunately, I've never gotten to meet him in person. So, he has a bright future in racing for sure, and it's only fitting that he were the one to win our season 1 of our series. But a lot of tough guys joining next year. I know some guys are getting better and better. Rich Foligno, Devin Crosby, Michael Krobach all had great ends to the year. That's not to discount Renee Hart, who has been great. Samuel McEachern missed quite a few races there at the end, but he was an absolute force at the beginning. One of the most consistent guys I've ever seen in any stint of races. So, man, he's going to have some tough competition next year. But when it came to this year, I mean, 10 top fives, didn't finish below fourth once, 6 wins, 6 pulls. What a year Logan Paxa had. So, congrats to him. He is your season 1 champion. And with that, we will head off. I'll throw up the final results one more time. But, well, with that, we will finish the first season of the Karts to Computers iRacing series before we come back in 2 weeks for the beginning of Season 2. So, those are your final results. And again, ladies and gentlemen, just an absolute thank you for watching all year. It's been a pleasure to have all of you out. And again, it just warms my heart to know that really in this time where I know all the drivers didn't really have much to do, but man, neither did I. Like it was tough to just have a few weeks where I didn't really have any racing at all, and I knew the season was coming up, so I just wanted to do whatever I could to give these guys something to look forward to. And well, just to hear such good things from everybody when I talk to people about how much they've enjoyed this series, it means so much to me, and it means so much that some of you guys can come out and watch your family members and just have a great time with us on your Thursday or Saturday or now Friday nights. So absolutely looking forward to season 2. I think it'll be really good. I'm going to put all the best parts of these broadcasts into that next season. We're going to have no technical difficulties. We went an entire race without them tonight, which makes me so happy. And I think the changes I made technically in the background mean we will have a technical difficulty list second season. So really, I'm thinking bigger and better things for the future of this series. And I wish the very best to all of the real life karting drivers that are running in our series who can finally get back on the real track in the next couple of weeks. So overall, thank you, everybody. It's been an absolute pleasure. I wish you all the best out there watching at home. I know it's not the easiest time, but the good news is starting to trickle in every time I check. So I'm hoping for the very best. I'm hoping for the best for all of you at home. So again, thank you for watching. Absolute pleasure to have all of you watching us at home, and really looking forward to having as many of you as possible as would like to watch us in 2 weeks, provisionally, for round 2 of the Karts to Computers iRacing Series season. For the final time this season and our 10th official race of the year. Signing off, Marshall Crocker Jr. I've had a pleasure hosting it, and have a good rest of your night and good rest of your weekend, because it is Friday. Bye, guys.